Wind Song by George W. Johnson. As I was coming around the corner, I heard some people say, here comes the dandy darky, here he comes his spy. His heel is like a snowplow, his mouth is like a trap, and when he opens it gently, you will see a fearful gap that I laugh. I could study her from Larry. I could study her from Larry.
The new year has brought change for the city of Arkham, Massachusetts. The once omnipresent sense of hopelessness has, over the past 4 years, slowly crawled back into the black from which it was birthed. The crowded alleyways and vagrant-lined streets now offer an abundance of prosperity. Stores, businesses, houses, all in bloom. The open gates towards future and growth, now commonplace for the citizens of Arkham. A joy that is almost palpable, despite the winter winds of January greeting the city, settling in for their extended stay. And yet, like creaking metal, the rear of your mind whispers. Without direction, you find yourself searching every shadowy corner, every blank page, every darkened night sky for an answer. An answer that you know exists to a question almost impossible to frame. Escape becomes the word the whispers form. And when your eyes fall upon the departing date of January 16th for the Yellow Star Line cruise, the creaking stops. Every nerve in your body pulses with a sense of purpose. Jan Catton. For you, the departing date seems too coincidental, almost. Your uncle, rest his soul, ended up passing away in Egypt, and the need to travel across the seas and settle his affair rests on your shoulders. You've spent many years in Arkham since returning from the Great War, studying, becoming a rather adept piano tuner. Your past, it follows you, however. On the darkest nights and the blackest blacks, you can still hear his cough, the cough of your dying brother from the room next to you. He says your name in a breathy voice, one that you ignore the way you ignored it all those years ago. Your work brings you pleasure. Despite only being 25, you feel ready to settle down, the ring in your pocket speaking to your truest intentions. And yet, Jan, the call to ship out, to voyage once more beckons you. Why do you leave? Make sure that we can hear you by unmuting yourself, my friend. Nope. Still can't hear you. There you go.
Of course. Perfect. he keeps asking himself this question: Why is he leaving? Why is he ready? And it's almost the trip of a lifetime in one hand, and this really burden he carries on the other. A letter from his mother with the money that was sent from his uncle, who passed away. And so he looks at it, and he's cashed a little bit in, and looking for this cruise, which simultaneously, getting away from it all, getting away, trying something new, but also going back over to the other side of the ocean, back where, he hasn't been since the war. It terrifies me.
And yet you leave. You leave to cross the sea, to do your duty. Petra Artemis Saltzman, of a Northwestern paper and steel saltsman, you've been encouraged by your father from a young age to pursue whatever interests you may have, and yet you've dedicated so much of your time to focusing on those which make you feel normal, whatever normal may be in the context of a rich heiress. Your ambitions are vast, and yet you shelter yourself, hoping to fulfill the caricature that is a young, foolish dilettante. Still you yearn to aspire to so much more, so many threads waiting to be pulled. When the cruise comes up as another schmoozing opportunity, you at first nearly reject it, until something about the voyage plucks at your mind, something that speaks to the long-ignored voice in your head, the voice that fears to be dull. What does that voice say?
Well, brings me back to the World Fair. I went there with my governess. I was set on fire. Seeing a replica of the pyramids, I thought, this will set me apart. I need to see this, the heights that humanity can bring itself to. It just piqued my interest in a way that not very many things have ever had a chance to.
And so you leave, listening to that voice in your head once again. Cedric Benson, you find yourself laughing at your luck. Just as the Jewel of the Sea finishes its run, landing in Arkham, the Queen Mary posts a position for a concierge. Better pay, too. Your smile never fades, despite your mother's voice in your head slinging insults at you regularly. You persevere, happy to be the picture those have painted for you. This voyage, despite its length and route, seems different than any voyage you've done before. The dreams you've had up and into the first day you board are an odd combination of want and warning. The attractive flick of a flame to a child not knowing that it burns. The dreams have become more and more real, and yet always the same. What is the dream?
The dream is a voice in the darkness. Calm at first, comforting. Then it grows louder and harsher and stranger and something I've never experienced before. And it's time for me to get away from that dream, from that screeching horridness that I hear in my sleep. So, yeah, I'm okay.
And so you each board the Queen Mary, jewel of the Yellow Star Line cruises, and you're home for the next week. Or so is the hope. As the gangway pulls back for the long horn of the departing boat echoing over Arkham Harbor, you have the absolute knowledge that you will never look upon this harbor the same way again. That if and when you should return to this city, you will not be the same. This voyage will change you. And what scares you most is the certainty of that feeling as it washes over you in the orange glow of the setting sun. Call of Cthulhu, Game 2, Part 1. Well, now I'll tell you what. Why don't we make this last round interesting? The time is 3 a.m., and 5 people occupy a small, dark room in the bowels of the Queen Mary, a cruise liner that left Arkham, Mass. Early yesterday afternoon. The corners of the metal room are lost in shadow. The walls lined with metal brackets and steaming boilers as a single lamp swings softly above a card table, which seat 3 of the room's occupants. At the door stands 2 men, both waiting for the same gentleman who sits at the table holding a deck of cards loosely in his hand and speaking with a drunken southern drawl. This man is Sly Whitman. I played my hands with relative success, if I do say so myself. He smiles with a toothy grin and gestures to the large pile of loose dollar bills in front of him. His face is thin and worn like a catcher's mitt, yet his eyes, they're youthful and bright, a blue-gray that sort of seems to cut through the darkness of the room. He has a loose tie and unbuttoned collar and a thick cigar in his mouth. For this last round, I'd like to swap out myself for another player. My good friend Cedric Benson, over there," he says as he points to one of the two men standing in the doorway. "Now, this fine gentleman has been instructed, as concierge of this beautiful ship, to follow me around like flies on a rib roast for the past day or so. Being the high roller that I am, however, I feel that Cedric Benson hasn't had much fun. Wouldn't you say, Cedric?"
Oh, nonsense. My mom always told me that I could have fun no matter where I was. And following you around doesn't feel so much like I'm a fly. In fact, I might feel like the luckiest fly around if I get to follow you, Mr. Whitman.
Now, this boy is smoother than honey, and I appreciate it, as you are. And believe me, you're going to get a good tip out of this. But nonetheless, I feel a little put aside from this. I would like to propose to the three of us sitting at this here table that you allow me to swap my personage out with this fine young fellow and let him play this final hand, if that's okay with you too, Petra. He gestures to the young woman at the table to his left. Who is Petra Saltzman, and how did she come to arrive at this table?
Petra Saltzman is early 20s heiress. She looks very beautiful. She's crusted with jewelry. Clearly holds herself with good posture, good breeding. She looks over the top of her cards suspiciously, but it's clear from the way that her hands are unsteady that she's had a couple too many drinks. Maybe being out on the ocean for the first time since she's never been out on the ocean. It just all of the excitement has gotten under her skin. She's on the boat with her daddy. Her father, Winslow Argos Saltzman, brought her along. She wouldn't let him leave without her. He is on his way to examine some fine artifact of one kind or another, his hobby, you understand. Well, Mr. Whitman, I don't suppose I can reject your offer, though never said hello to Mr. Benson. Cedric, did you say?
Oh, yes. I thought you were expecting Mr. Whitman to reply, but yes, my name is Cedric Benson. Please.
Well, all right, Petra. I appreciate that you're okay with me having Cedric in. What about you, Yan? You've been awfully quiet this last little bit. What do you say? Would you mind? And who is Yan Catton, and how did he come to arrive at this table?
I mean, Jan Catton's a piano tuner from Arkham, Massachusetts. Has been doing that for a couple of years. It's just had the ear for it. Ended up falling in with the right crowd. Sort of picked up the skill pretty quickly. But that never earns the kind of money to get him sitting at this table. He's only got a little bit. It's more than he's ever held in his life. But it was enough for a ticket on the ship that was going to the right place at the right time, and it's sort of the adventure of a lifetime. Now his room's right behind the saloon upstairs, and that place never stops, so it's too noisy to try and sleep too much. So he's been wandering around until he ended up getting invited to this table by Mr. Sly Whitman. It seems only fair if Cedric gets to play the cards. I appreciate you loaning him the money, but does he get to keep any of the winnings?
Well, let's just say Cedric will act rather as a a stand-in for myself, meaning that he'll play the cards as they fall, and if he should lose, or one of you two should win, then you'll get the money just as it is my own. But if I should, or rather he should win for me, I'll collect my winnings. He'll only replace me.
I'm not here to take anyone's money.
Cedric, now listen, you deserve a little bit of fun like anybody else. What say you, Petra, Jan? Let this boy have a shot at some fun?
But of course.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad. It seems like Southern hospitality is not just extended by those from the South, but to them as well. He pulls at his chair and stands up and brushes off some of the crumbs from his jacket. He's been snacking on soda crackers that sit on a small table next to him. He says, all right, Cedric, why don't you come over here? Who is Cedric Benson?
Cedric Benson is an average height, unassuming black man. Very well put together, well dressed, carries a beautiful smile, teeth like chiclets all the way across. And he is well composed as he pulls the chair out delicately without making it scrape against the floor, sits down in it, and looks at his cards, shares an almost imperceptible nervous look with Mr. Whitman, but in a flash it's gone. He smiles his white teeth at the other two and says, "All right, whose move is it?"
Oh, hold on now. Listen, we're going to redo this. This will be the final round. Everyone hand me your cards. And Sly holds out his hands and collects the cards from him. I understand, but this final round needs to be even Stevens. I mean, I'm going to go all in on this, and you have the potential to win some big money. Believe me, it ain't too big for me. But here, hand me your cards. And he collects them all, and he stands at the far end of the table and says, "All right, I'm going to deal all these out." And he starts looking between the three of you, quietly studying each of your faces. Now, yeah, I'll give you a little tip, each of y'all. Now that I'm not playing myself, it's not going to benefit me as he deals out the cards. Let's call it a secret to my success. And unarguably, his pile has been the largest throughout the night. Winning cards is all about reading the other people across from you, trying to understand their faces, trying to see if they can tell. So let's play a little game while I'm dealing out your cards. Why don't you each go around the table and tell a little something about yourselves? Can be real, can be honest, can be a bluff. You do you. And then the other people can pick up where you're coming from, whether it be a lie or not. Well, at the very least, we get to know each other a little bit well. Cedric, you got a smile that could blind a blind man. Why don't you start off? Tell us a little bit of something about yourself. True or false, it don't matter.
Oh, I don't have anything interesting to tell about myself. I feel like you should be doing this, Mr. Whitman.
No. Here, take this as a little bit of a lesson. You know Sly Whitman as a equivalent millionaire of the day. He is a oil tycoon extraordinaire, and you have been assigned to be this man's right hand during his time on this cruise ship. He smiles again, his pearly whites. Please, Cedric. Like I said, it doesn't have to be true. Just something to give us a little bit of a taste of who Cedric Benson might be.
Okay. Cedric Benson, myself. I have already been across the ocean once.
Oh, you don't say.
Where'd you land?
Well, are they supposed to be asking me questions?
Oh, they can do whatever they want here. Now, if you're telling a fib, they're going to poke some holes into it. If you're telling the truth, then, hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Oh, well, that was a fib. I thought that it would be interesting.
Well, now, Cedric, you're not playing the game right. If you're going to tell a fib, you got to let them ask some questions so you can poke some holes in it. Let's try again. Okay. You do another one. And,
all right.
And let them
sorry,
see.
I'm very bad at this game.
No, listen.
I thought we were going to be playing cards. I didn't know anything about
Oh, it's a little bit of both, Cedric. Let me have some fun.
Okay, all right. I will say that, oh my goodness. I don't know how to drive a car.
And so, Mr. Whitman, we are supposed to intuit whether Mr. Benson is telling the truth.
Well, I mean, that's up to you. Cedric, if you are lying, why don't you give a fast talk roll? If you're telling the truth, a persuade roll. And let's just see if you're successful at this.
Okay. So I do not know how to drive a car. I have
Perfect.
0 drive skill. Well, 20%, but I think it should even be less. 1d100. So I'm doing persuade. It's not quite enough to persuade, unless I can do charm.
Well, because you are fibbing, you said?
No, this is true.
Oh, you have? Okay. So, yeah, you get the impression from Cedric that he's not too sure of his own ability.
Ability to drive a car.
Yeah.
I've never driven one. Yeah. Is that interesting enough, Mr. Whitman? Like
That's
I said,
perfect.
I'm not
That's
very
perfect.
interesting. I think that
No,
Mr.
no,
Whitman should be
Cedric,
the
you're
one
selling
doing
yourself too short. That's very interesting. What do you think, Petra? Jan, do you think he's telling the truth? Is he lying?
Oh, it's hard to say. A man such as yourself?
It was very clever, though, because how do you prove a negative?
Ah.
He picked something we can ask no questions about. When didn't you get in a driver's seat the first time? When didn't someone teach you? Oh, he's savvy.
Well, I guess the only way that you could really test me was if you put me in a car, and I don't think we're going to have a chance to do that.
Sly, you sure you didn't pack one?
I didn't. No, not on this cruise. But you know what? Maybe we let Cedric have this round for being clever enough to ask a question that can't be poked holes. I, for one, believe you, Cedric. I think
I
think you're
say a
telling the
win
truth.
for Cedric.
I say one for Cedric too. Well done, Cedric.
Wow, my goodness, you guys! Thank you so much. So, is this money mine now? Is that
No,
I'm just
no.
joking.
Oh.
I'm joshing. No.
Very good. What about you, Petra? Why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Oh, I certainly will. I, Petra Artemis Saltzman, am absolutely 100% colorblind.
And why don't you give us a roll based on whether that's a fast talk, deception, charm, persuade, whatever you want to call it, and tell us if you succeed or not.
I will do so. Da-dum-dum-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And no, I fail.
Was it the truth or a lie?
That was a lie.
What do you think, Jan? Cedric? You think she's telling the truth?
Been having no trouble with those poker chips all night.
Oh, go on.
Right?
Clever,
Yeah.
yeah.
You seem to be.
Well, I guess I'm just not cut out for lying.
Hey, there's
I
nothing
don't know
wrong
about
with that.
Mrs. Saltzman. I would say that I never thought it would be a lie. I never picked you as someone who would lie, personally.
Too sweet. And it's Ms. Saltzman.
Oh,
Oh,
pardon me.
well, you didn't go ahead and bluff us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you lose. You know, it's just it's a way to tell where your tells are. And see, I noticed when you said that your left eye twitched just a little bit. I think maybe Yan just made a more logical conclusion about the poker chips, and for that he's a clever man. What about you, Yan? Why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Well, let's see. I mean, everybody always seems to think this story is really interesting. I grew up on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and one winter, driving across the ice, riding a horse, my brother, we both fell right through, plunged into the water, and just like that, managed to swim, find some ground, helped my brother out, and we both ran back, got Dad, saved the horse. There was no problem whatsoever.
And why don't you give us a roll?
Sure.
Just let us know whether you succeed or not.
Well, let's see how I go.
So you're trying to say that you saved your brother from drowning under the ice?
All by myself. Yeah, definitely failed that roll.
And you failed it?
Yeah,
Fucking bad liars. Whole crew.
yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I believe you necessarily. What do you think, Petra? Cedric, you think he's telling the truth?
Well, not to cast aspersions, but I don't believe a word of it.
Oh, come on. You have to at least give me the half-truth in there. We did fall through the ice, but I ran back by myself to get help. And it was a hell of a night. Let me tell you, trying to fish a horse out of water. That pond was deeper than you ever thought.
What happened next?
Oh, we did all eventually get out, get back, get warmed up. Still got a little frostbite on a toe, you think?
My goodness.
Well, how absolutely thrilling.
Well, it seems my little game here didn't reveal too much about each other's characters other than that we're all bad liars. But hey, nothing wrong with that. Just means this next round of cards is going to be particularly truthful. Since nobody succeeded, we're not going to get a bonus for this, but everyone do a straight up and down 100 roll. And we're just going to use this as the way cards do, that the highest roll is going to be winning this round. And
Yes,
this final
sir.
hand.
Oh, not
Ooh, a few closes, but it looks like, Cedric, you end up winning this pot. Tell us how that works.
Wait, are we playing cards now, or
You said the
Correct.
highest roll.
Yeah, meaning in Call of Cthulhu the lowest. My apologies, but yes, it's
It's
going to
like
be the
golf.
yeah, it's the most successful roll, I should say. Just otherwise, if we start mixing highs and lows at this point, we're going to get confused for the rest of the game. So, Cedric, the cards are dealt to you, and you end up winning this hand. First and foremost, I should say, you have the cards to win this hand. Do you play them? And if you do, tell us how that works.
Yeah, so I have the cards, and I know that it's a winning hand. I don't know much about cards, but right off the bat, these I know are going to win. And I smile, and I say, I've got a winning hand. And
Cedric, when you have a winning hand, it's best to just play the cards.
oh, well, right, okay. I have a winning hand.
I think you're deeper than you let on, Cedric. Sounds like a bluff to me.
And that's how it starts. And eventually I just smile my way into bluffing to get people to think that I'm lying. That's how bluffing works. And I take it. Reverse psychology. Classic reverse psychology.
And at the end of the game, Sly stands up, slapping the table. Well, hot dog, Cedric. I should say that you are a good bluffer and a good card player. Did you two suspect he was going to be so clever at a game like this?
You know, I admit I might have underestimated him, but I didn't underestimate you. You wouldn't have put somebody who was going to lose your money in that chair.
Oh, believe me, money ain't that important. In fact, this last round, just a bit of fun. Never mind, you collect your own pots. And Cedric,
No,
you collect that
absolutely
money for. I know, I insist on it. Now listen here, this was my fun. It's 3 a.m, and I pulled you all down here out of your beds, out of your walking around the ships, or whatever you did. And poor Cedric here, listen, friend, you have had your entire time on this ship so far, even though it's only one day. I'm sure it felt like an eternity. You keep that money in front of you. And you too, Miss Saltzman, and you too, Yam. Y'all keep your money, you go back. It's been fun playing with you. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the art of bluffing. And he stands up and brushes the remaining crumbs as he sort of staggers a little bit. The large man in a sort of wide-brimmed hat that's been watching you as well, his bouncer, security guard, I should say, sort of steps forward and steadies him. I'm fine. I hope you all have a nice night, and if I run on to the cruise and you all do your thing. What am I saying? Have a great night and go to bed. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep this off. And he turns and leaves the small metal room. His bodyguard stops at the door and looks back to the three of you. He sort of looks you up and down and he says, "You three take care of yourselves now." Before leaving,
Have a
he
nice night.
sort of stops and turns around and awkwardly shakes each of your hands, this big bodyguard. He's not big, he's sort of thin. His tone is earnest, and the clang of the door shuts, leaving the three of you in the small room with the swinging light above you, each with your own piles of money.
I'm a bit taken aback by that. Did any of you know his name?
Oh, the second man?
The bodyguard. Who
I
was
was
that?
about to ask, but
No, just Mr. Whitman's personal assistant.
Oh, okay. Seemed nice enough.
you
Just like
didn't
you
know
folks.
him. You've been with him, Mr. Whitman, all day.
Did I know him?
Yeah, his name was James.
James. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yes. To be completely honest, I've met so many people on this boat already, and
I can imagine.
it's a little late. It's past my bedtime, to be completely honest.
Cedric, you said this is your first overseas voyage.
It is. I haven't been overseas before.
Me neither. I'm so excited.
Yeah. What are you excited about?
Oh, everything. To smell a new country, to hear the sounds of people speaking in foreign languages. I myself know 4.
Four languages.
Of course, yes. How many do you know?
Just this one. Which ones do you know?
Oh, Spanish, English, Latin, and French.
Can you show us a little? And I look to Jan to kind of like see how interested he is. What's Jan's reaction so far?
So I mean, he's a little bit like the romanticizing of overseas and being over there and all of that is it's a little bit like lost on him. He's not there, but
Petra's totally tone deaf to it. Comment ça va, Cedric?
Bonjour.
Is that Spanish?
Oh, it's French.
Spanish, French.
You know some languages, Jan?
Just enough words to get by.
And have you been anywhere exciting?
Oh, it's been a couple of years since I've been over here. Never been to Egypt. It'll be very exciting to check out Port Said and the surrounding area.
Absolutely. What brings you here? Why are you here?
Oh, I had my uncle a couple of years ago passed away, and he's got some affairs that need settled. So he sent a little money, and I'm the only one who was free to go.
I'm so sorry.
I never met him. I hear he was a nice guy.
It's very responsible of you to be going to do this for someone you never met. I mean, he is your uncle, but I mean, family isn't necessarily,
He meant a lot to my mom.
I understand. Well, it's been very nice playing with the three of you. How about we do breakfast? Oh, and she looks at the time.
Maybe a late breakfast?
Let's make it lunch.
And with that, the three of you stand up and depart the small room next to the cargo bay and head back to your individual rooms aboard the Queen Mary. And your sleep is a drunken slumber for some of you, but it is deep and quiet. In your dreams, you hear a humming, almost like an engine. It becomes louder in waves, each pulse ringing through your mind atop the other, like ripples caused by skipping stones, each ring bouncing into the other, causing more waves with each encounter. They grow bigger, larger, massive to the point where they feel all-consuming and powerful. The sheer height, an impassable wall of black water that leans over you and above, ready to pounce, to crash, destroy. All at once, you sense being washed ashore. Fires in a field, tall. The scent of burned wood, burned wheat on the wind. You see a shirtless man, blood covering his torso, his tongue outstretched, hungry like an animal. A butterfly emerges and then is destroyed. A black water, as far as the eye can see, and a young boy that floats on it, unmoving. His eyes are closed and his face the palest white you've ever seen. He opens his eyes and says a single word: Blackstone. The water below him is deep, and the crack, a sound like thunder, is muffled in the depths below. The bottom of the ocean, you see a green light shine. A millennia ago, it waits. The boy speaks, but the voice is not his. It's an old man, and he says, "My life will fade from memory, a truth that I fear not. Instead, I dread they will recall what ought to be forgot." And a loud horn wakes you. It echoes across the ocean, startling you each from a dream. The afternoon sun is shining through your porthole for those lucky enough to see it, and you rise in your small stateroom. It is as you left it, as you passed out drunkenly the night before, and looking at any clock that might be around you, you see the time is 3:54 p.m. There's a small slip of paper beneath each of your doors. And since you all are in your own rooms, the paper says, "Greeting passengers and crew alike. Captain Leslie Baker would like to welcome you aboard the Queen Mary, jewel of the Yellow Star cruise liners. This is where they'll be spending the next 8 days on our way to Cairo, Egypt. You may have taken a moment to tour the liner and what awaits you here on board, our Neptune Lounge, the Horizons Ballroom, and of course the 5-star dining room, Bounty. There are many sights and secrets to see, but for this evening, I would like to invite you all first-class passengers to join us in the ballroom for a toast on the opened ocean and the musical stylings of Mr. Vic Tenetta. Petra, you wake. How do you feel?
Oh, my God. What was in that bourbon? I guess it was bourbon. Was in the bourbon.
It's extra bourbon.
And she stumbles out of bed and immediately lands on the wall beside her, and the seasickness is just churning in her belly. Her eyes are bloodshot. Her hair is all smashed up on the one side of her. She looks at the clock. Ugh. Whew. And then looks at the invitation that was underneath the door. She reads it. She looks at the clock again. And then she rings a small bell. That's situated just inside of her door, and she rings it again impatiently.
And after a few seconds,
Hey, come in.
And the door opens, and a sort of a young blonde boy named Paul sort of leans in and says, "Good afternoon, Miss Saltzman. How can I help you?"
Yes, page boy. I met with 2 passengers last night. A Jan Catton, I believe, and Cedric. Cedric, I forget his name. I'd like you please to get in touch with them for me. And she's rubbing sleep out of her eyes. Please give them my regrets that I missed our lunch date, and maybe I'll see them this evening. And I would like some hot water, please.
Right away, Miss Saltzman. I'll get the message for sure. Jan, I'll get it done. And he speeds away and stops a few steps down the hall and sort of turns around. And the hot water, right away. And he sort of heads off down the hall. Jan, you hear a knock at your door waking you.
Good morning. Come on in.
And a young page boy opens the door and says, "Hi, is this Mr. Jan Catton?"
That's me. Who are you?
Sorry, my name is Paul. I'm a page. I just wanted to let you know that Miss Saltzman, she regrets to inform you that she won't be able to meet you for lunch, and she hopes to see you tonight at the dinner.
That seems about the way that goes, doesn't it? Right. Yeah, I've got. Sorry, I don't do this very often.
Jan, sort of. What do you look like right now? You just woke up, I'm assuming. Right?
I mean, he just woke up. He's just in like a white tank top and some shorts or something. Like he's just sort of moving around the room, kind of a little bit stunned, not sure what to do with himself. Like usually there's no part of this that feels routine, so he's a little bit adrift. So I think he stumbles around the room, tries to find his wallet, eventually collects it, after throwing everything else out of his pockets, trying to find what he's looking for.
And
do you know if there's a passenger Blackstone?
I can check.
I feel like I heard the name the other day.
I can check the ship's registry, sir. Sure, of course.
That'd be great.
And he clears his throat again, holding his hand out for a tip.
Yeah, eventually find the thing, give him a $1, and.
Oh wow! Whoa! A whole $1! Thank you, sir. I'm gonna be here to help in any way, shape, or form. Hot dog! And he skips, jumps, and what's that?
His stutter's gone.
Yeah, well, hey, $1 will get rid of that stutter. And he skip
Here's
hops
what ails you.
down the hallway. Cedric, you are busy minding the end of the lunch rush, standing at a small desk behind the hall, the dining hall, I should say. And people are sort of leaving the dining room as you are sort of just checking off the people on a ledger. Mm-hmm. And after a moment, a young waiter comes up to you with dark hair, and he's sort of nervously sweating. Cedric, I can't find the Baudelaire, the 75.
Whoa! Calm down. It's okay.
Yeah, but listen,
Slow down.
Mr. Williams' table they want the Baudelaire 75. I haven't checked the storeroom. I can't find it. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find it. I can't find it, and he's gonna freak out.
Okay, have you spoken with one of the other servers already?
No, are you kidding? If I mess up one more time and they feel like they have to cover me, they're gonna. I don't even know. They already give me such a tough time. Cedric, you're the only person I can trust. Please, do you know where they keep it? I couldn't find it in the wine room. Do they keep it in a special spot?
Can I do a roll? Can I?
Absolutely, yeah. Give me a knowledge roll, or idea roll.
Idea. Oh, okay.
Knowledge, wine, hiding.
Or whatever works. Yeah. You tell me what you want to roll.
Skill.
It is the wine roll.
Well, could I? Well, I guess spot hidden wouldn't really work because
if you want to go look for it, then yeah. But I mean, if you're just gonna tell him.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna tell him. No, you're right. It should be in there. It should be in the back room. I'll take a look. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll come find you if I do.
Thank you, Cedric. Thank you. I'll just wait right here. I can't go back to the table without it. Thank you so much.
I understand.
The wine room is.
What's your name again?
What do you mean my name? You know we've known each other since before.
I know. I'm sorry. It's been a long night, and I've met a lot of people. But okay, never mind. I'll be right back.
It's Kingsley, Kingsley, and he sort of leans back, defeated. And the wine closet is pretty small. It's just next to the dining room, and as you enter, you see the wine sort of bordering either side of it. It's off a small hallway that's rarely used. In fact, it's sort of dedicated to this one closet.
Okay. So I poke my head in, and I look in the hall. Part of me knows that there are people who would frown upon me being back here. Mm-hmm. But I've been back here before. It was part of the orientation, so I know that I can be, but there's something I feel hesitant about it. So I poke my head in and just kind of rush around trying to spot anything.
Okay.
And
give me a spot hidden.
That is a 25 over 75, which is a
brilliant
success.
You spot it right away. It's sitting where it always should be. And as you reach up to grab the dusty bottle off its shelf and bring it down, you turn around to see the little alcove sort of corner that's hidden. You see an older man, a gentleman of sorts, in a tuxedo, just finishing probably lunch, maybe on his way to getting ready for dinner. And he's kissing passionately a young stewardess on the boat. And she spots you nervously and sort of pushes him away and backs around a corner. And he looks to you and stands up.
I didn't see nothing, sir. Just looking for the wine.
And he walks up to you. No, you didn't.
That's right.
And he turns around and he walks around the corner and back to the dining room. Petra, you hear another knock at the door with your warm water. What are you looking for the warm water for?
Oh, Petra's drawing a bath.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and,
she needs some water. She absolutely just needs to relax. That was quite the night for her.
And steward after steward sort of rotates in and out of your cabin every few minutes with a new sort of bucket of water while you, sit on the bed and...
She actually goes across the hall to see if her father is in. While she's waiting for her wash water. She sort of spends a minute wiping off some of the makeup from last night. She just passed out straight up in her dress, in her gloves, in her shoes, in everything.
We've been there.
So she sort of spent maybe 10 minutes brushing her hair and putting herself a little bit together, rinsing her mouth out with some water. And then she goes over across the hall to her daddy's chamber. I'm going to pretend to knock. Let's see if Louis reacts.
You're good. And after a minute, you see the door open, and your father's wearing his afternoon slacks. It's sort of like a golf shirt and straight pants, and he comes with an arched eyebrow and says, Petra, darling, you really just getting up now.
Of course, Daddy. I'm on vacation.
Vacation does not an excuse make to lie in bed until, my God, is it 4 p.m, girl?
I understand. Of course. I had the most absolute fun. Remember the man that we met at dinner last night?
And
Mr.
he turns
Whitman?
around and he sort of starts looking through a newspaper that he was looking at. Who?
Well, Mr. Whitman, you know how we met him at dinner last night and then he took me for a walk on the upper decks?
Yes.
Well, we ended up spending the most wonderful evening. He was teaching me how to play poker, and honestly, and she just goes on and on and on
And he's
like this for about 20 minutes until her bath is filled.
Yeah, and he sits
She's
down
like,
and
"Oh."
sort of just bridges his glasses on his nose. As you
Yeah,
continue
this
on.
is a very typical scene for Petra and her father. She's like way too vivacious, and he's kind of perpetually checked out or interested in his business and not really hers.
Completely.
So the bath fills, and then she goes back to her room. Well, see you later, Daddy.
Yes, you too. Yes, you do.
Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah, and you have woken up, and as you're sort of piecing together the night and going to bed, you realize that your watch is misplaced.
Oh.
Oh, damn.
Yan.
That is not good.
Was the watch special to you?
Yeah, it was one of the few things my mom gave me that was sort of from her father, from her side of the family. So it's sort of like a treasured family thing that was actually special in the ways that sometimes families aren't. So I better go find it. Maybe Cedric knows where it went, or at least who's been in the room since we left it. Maybe you can get me in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might try and get myself together, and at least enough to go back and check the room and see if I can find somebody to help me.
For sure.
See if they've done the watch.
You do. I won't make you do a knowledge roll, but you do remember taking it off before the game. Part of you was a bit nervous that you might get a little and put the watch in the pile.
Vacation.
And you wouldn't want to do that. So you think you left it in the room.
So it's one of those that getting just about out the door, and then your mind catches up with you to be like, oh wait, let's search here. I did just turn the place upside down, found the wallet. That's good. Trying to look through the rest of the bags, look through the rest of the wallet. Am I spotting something around? Is that?
Yeah, give me a spot hidden.
Let's do that. How do we feel about?
Wow. Wait, that's really bad, isn't it?
I think it's the worst you can get.
I always forget.
It's so special.
Yeah, no, you are so hungover that it's just like blurred. You're like, I can't see.
Wait. That's 100, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
that's a critical fail. But yeah, you don't.
It's just gone. It's just like
Just disparate.
it's gone straight from this is so important to me. It's gone forever. I'm just going to make peace with the fact that this is the place of vacation. There is no more watch. If it turns up in the room later, great.
I seem to
better
remember
get coffee.
throwing it into the ocean.
It's completely gone. Eventually, the three of you sort of putter around your rooms, putter around the ship a little bit. Is there anywhere particularly? I mean, Petra sort of dedicated her evening, late afternoon, to a bath. Cedric, you're already working the shift. Is there anywhere you want to look around, Jan, on the ship, or Cedric, is there anything that you were looking to do before doing the dinner service?
I think I've still got this. I'm hungover. I'm walking around, and I've just got the name Blackstone in my head.
Sure.
And Paul was supposed to come back and tell me something. I'm at a loss for what else to do. I don't vacation well or often. This is all sort of new. So just trying to walk around and see how other people actually relax on this thing and see if there's.
Absolutely. You exit your room, which is right next to the salon. Yeehaw! And people are playing bridge in the afternoon. You see a few people walking around the ship telling boring jokes. You see some old people making a fuss and yelling at some steward for some non-important reason. And as you make your way downstairs, you hear sort of the droves of some afternoon violin music in the Neptune Lounge. And as
perfect.
Yeah.
Is it in tune?
The violin?
Yeah.
The violin seems to be, yeah.
Nice. I like good music. It
Yeah.
seems like a direction that pulls my ear.
Absolutely.
Is it a tune I recognize?
It is. It is a violin.
A classic. It's
See,
so good.
it is. I can only think of quartets, but it's a quartet. It is. It is a cello and violin and viola and whatever the last one would be.
A bass.
Bass, and they're playing the C sharp minor fucking song from Beethoven.
I love that one.
Everyone's favorite.
It's a twist on a classic.
It is,
but they're doing it excellently. It just and music has always been one of Jan's interests, and it sort of draws his ears, sort of keeps that quiet part of him, sort of brings out a little bit of joy. So I think he's sort of drawn through the ship to the sound of the music, and maybe every once in a while it's like Waffles walks away and finally decides I got to go to this lounge. I got to see what's happening.
But you do spend a bit of time there listening to these violins, and in fact they're right in front of this beautiful bay of windows that really just shows the open ocean. And for a moment your eyes just drift and you can see these crashing waves in the distance. The chill on the air, you can tell, the winter still exists on the ocean. The concept is just beautiful. Sorry, and then you continue on to the lounge. You said.
Yeah.
So at this time, I'm going to say that it's around dinner time. Petra, you've toweled from your bath, I assume.
Yeah, she takes a rather long time to get ready to do anything. So she's taken her bath, she's set her hair in curlers, she's done her makeup, she's got her hair out of the curlers, blah, blah, blah. Like an hour and 45 minutes later, she's flouncing her way into the dining room. Just already got a glass of champagne in her hand. No one knows where from.
Does she just like scoop it off like a passing tray, like whoop, as like people are migrating towards the lounge?
None of the audience, no third party sees her receive it or take it or find it. She just has one. Amazing.
And this is like her call. This is her call to action. It's just always arriving with a champagne flute in hand.
Hello.
And the three of you sort of converge. Cedric, you're doing your work, obviously, but your job during the dinner party is to be more, or the ballroom, I should say, is to be social, to make sure that you are floating on the walls. And in fact, as you approach the lounge, Sly Whitman calls to you. Cedric Benson, come here for a second.
Mr. Whitman, it's good to see you. You're looking dapper today.
It took me a while to get up. I'm not ashamed to say I just woke up a little while ago. But let me tell you something. You did awfully good last night.
Oh, well, thank you for saying so. What particular are you thinking of, though?
Winning us that hand. I walked away with a pretty good tip there, I should say.
I should say so myself. I do greatly appreciate it. It's going to be put to good use.
Yeah, well, it will be, because that tip is coming with a little bit of a catch, I hope you know. Sly Whitman is a kind and generous Southern boy, but he always has a little tail end of something. So
I'm intrigued.
Well, I just want you to know that money came with the agreement between you and I alone. That you stop bothering with me. Go and do something else. Do your job. I understand that when they come on here, they say, Sly Whitman's a heavy roller. Let's get Cedric on it. Give him all niceties. But listen, I got my own man, and I don't need you following me around. That's not to say I'm up to nothing sinister. I just want you to know that go have some fun. Do some work. That money is meant to be spent. Take some time off. Don't worry so much about hovering around me. Deal?
Well, I do appreciate that, and yes, if those are the terms, then I will respect those terms. But if I can be completely frank with you, Mr. Whitman, Not everybody else on this ship is like you.
I understand.
have some troubles. Yeah.
Listen,
So-
and sincerely, if your boss tells you that you still need to be on me, I'll talk to him. I don't mind. This ain't a matter of pride. I don't like being waited on all these fancy boys. I'm a rich man, and I got money to my name, and that's why I keep him around. I just don't want to, I want to mingle a little bit. I want to meet some women. I want to get out there and dance a little bit. And they see you floating around, they're going to think I'm some big shot. I just want to have a little fun, if you know what I mean.
Say no more, Mr. Whitman. And if I do happen to meet any lovely young women in my mingling...
You can send them my way for sure. And let me tell you this. This ain't the last card game we're going to play together, neither. This doesn't mean you and I can't be social. I want you to have your own job and your own friends, And he slaps you on the shoulder a little bit in a kindly way.
All right. I truly appreciate it, Mr. Whitman. James, you two have a wonderful evening.
The appreciation's on me, you too. And you see Petra walk by you with the champagne flute. And Jan, you see Cedric and Petra sort of through this crowd of people as you're all moving towards the ballroom.
Petra does one of those, like, walk by and then get hooked by a fish hook, turn around sort of deals when she realizes that it's Cedric. She turns around. Cedric! How good of you to come. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Oh, can I get you a champagne?
Oh, no, thanks. I'm working right now.
Oh, one.
How are you feeling this evening?
I'm doing very well. Oh, it's so nice to see you. How fun was that little card game last night?
Oh, I had a fantastic time.
Oh, and there's Jan! Jan over here!
Oh, hi. Wow. It's lovely to see you.
How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Upright, alive, very much alive. You can feel every ache and pain to prove it.
Have you tried one of these canapes? They're simply divine.
Well, if you think, sure, yeah, let's try it. Let's.
Can I do a spot hidden?
Yeah, you can definitely see the small piece of smoked salmon on a cracker with some cream cheese and capers.
The caper hidden underneath that gets you.
Yeah.
What happened to your watch, Mr. Catan?
Ooh, clever girl.
Well, I'm sure it's in my room somewhere.
You had it last night before the game. I saw you when you were going into the room, but...
No, he didn't have it before the game. He wasn't sure. And you don't remember seeing him have it before the game.
Oh,
but you do remember seeing him while you were
I've seen
meeting
it
him.
on you before. It looks like a nice watch. Just thought that you wouldn't wear it out tonight?
I couldn't find it. I'm sure it's somewhere, but...
Honestly, I find when I'm out traveling, things just have a habit of walking away.
Really?
When you're living out of a suitcase, it's just impossible.
Well, I've never had many things, so I'm a bit ashamed I didn't keep better track of them.
I'm sure it'll turn up, Mr. Is it Catan or Caton? I've been struggling with this.
Caton is how I've always said it, but however you're saying it's fine.
I love that. What nationality is it?
Well... Ukrainian?
Ukrainian!
How divine. And as the three of you...
Do you speak Ukraine? Ukraine?
A few words here and there, but my dad spoke it in his side of the family more than my mom, and it's fine.
As the three of you
just a curse word.
Standing outside the Neptune Lounge, you hear a bit of applause coming from inside, and your attention is turned towards the Neptune Lounge as a gathering crowd sets out in front of the small stage that the lounge offers. The evening has set. Arkham Harbor is long since vanished from the horizon, and a sea of people that flooded into the small stage room, look up towards the captain, who stands in his dress white at a microphone in front of the stage as the three of you enter the ballroom as well. The clinking of glasses can be heard, and the champagne can be heard popping in the distance, and the murmuring crowd settles for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Queen Mary. My name is Captain... Yes, thank you. Yes, my name is Captain Baker, and I hope you enjoy yourselves here. Of course, if you should need anything, the crew is equipped to handle even the most difficult requests. And there's sort of a laugh throughout the crowd. But the voyage should be quick, painless, and hopefully a really good time. Of course, your stewards are here to help, so make sure you tip generously. And he points to a few choice people who, someone lets out a bellowous laugh. And he turns back towards the mic. But anyway, just wanted to introduce myself to you fine people. And of course, we are all here for one reason alone right now, and that is the musical styling of Mr. Vic Tenetta. And there's a big applause from the front. Vic Tenetta is a bit of a name. You guys recognize him. He has a few records on the radio right now. And
I tuned a piano once in Arkham University when he played a show there at the music conservatory.
Yes, you did. Yes, his pianist was particularly adept, but he was a bit of a. You actually know this. Actually, give me a knowledge roll. That's what this game is.
Sure.
I forgot. There's dice in this game.
My role-playing game. I don't know. How do you feel about a 74? Is probably not gonna.
Yeah.
No, so you did all that, and that was the extent of it. You tuned the piano for his pianist, but he did not play it. It was his pianist, his backup band.
He was near it the whole time. It counts.
Well,
give this one to me.
Well, actually, that's part of it. You do remember that he was a bit of a diva. He actually didn't come to the stage. He waited. You did all the stuff with the backup band. The backup band sort of mentioned that he would never come and practice, and then you didn't actually get to meet him. Not to shit on your story, but that's how it went. In any case, very close. That with you. You were, and you should. Don't get me wrong. But that's enough for me. Vic Tenetta! And everyone sort of claps, and a man enters stage in a white tuxedo as the backup band begins playing, and everyone sort of starts swinging along to him, and he comes out and starts singing Beyond the Sea. Somewhere beyond the sea. And people start clearing the floor, and couples start pairing up and dancing as the three of you. Well, what do you do?
Petra takes a few steps back and holds her hands out to both of her companions, hoping one of them will take her up on the offer.
And Cedric steps back, and then it's only Jan standing there.
So there's a moment of looking eyes with Cedric, and a gulp, and he turns and goes to dance. Yeah.
Nice. And the two of you, you start dancing across the floor in a sea of people.
Oh, marvelous. Oh.
Have you always known how to dance, or a natural talent? You must be.
Oh, you're too kind. I've taken lessons, of course, when I was quite young. You are very swift on your feet.
Just a good sense of rhythm.
Watches the ship that goes sailing.
I love his music. It's just the best.
Just my favorite. Oh, Vic is just to die for.
And
do you think we could meet him?
Of course. We must.
And he plays a song. Actually, he plays a few more. You dance to a few. You sort of talk to a few. And, after a few songs, he sort of says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a short break, and I will be back after this." And a little bit of applause, and he sort of slips down off the side, his tie loosely untied on either side of his white, coat, and he goes to the bar, actually, walking right past, right next to Petra and Jan, and Cedric, who's sort of staying there, too.
Now's our chance.
We don't want to bother him, though. It's probably...
Come here. She links arms with you and just drags you towards the bar.
Wow.
Mr. Tenetta.
Yeah, and who... well, hello. And he sort of steps right towards you, Petra, and he says, "Why, look at you, fine thing."
My name is Miss Saltzman, and I just had to make your acquaintance.
Yes,
This here is my friend... Mr. Jan Catton, is it Catton? Mr. Jan Catton. And Cedric Benson, and we're all just gigantic, just massive fans. And it's so nice to meet you.
And he doesn't even look at the other two. He just keeps locking eyes with you. He says, "Yeah, well, if I wasn't up there singing, I'd be dancing. and I'd be dancing with you.
Oh, go on.
I will.
You know, Mr. Tanetta, I tuned a piano for you at Arkham once.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, kid. Listen, darling, why don't we skedaddle from here? Well, I mean, I got a few more songs to sing, but after that...
We're on a ship? What do you mean skedaddle?
Well,
this
you know, I have a room.
Darling.
I have a room.
No. Will you be playing here this whole engagement, the entire trip?
And Cedric and Jan, he's not even, like, looking at you. In fact, he's sort of aggressively turning, like, away from you. Yeah, such a fucking douchebag. And he's sort of, like, slipping between the two of you.
Well,
Cedric is not really paying too much attention. He's kind of staring off at the dance floor.
Okay. Give me a spot hidden.
Ooh. Call of Cthulhu game.
Hard success. Or extreme success. No,
Amazing.
Extreme success.
You are lucky. You don't die. You see something really interesting. Upon arriving and starting this whole voyage, you made friends with very few crewmen. One of them was a crewman named Raymond. He is a nice boy. He looks up to you very strongly. You can tell immediately that he's really eager to sort of do whatever you would like. And he's walking around with a tray. But you spot something. He is wearing Jan's watch. And he moves through the crowd. And you don't catch a glimpse of it, but you're absolutely sure that he's wearing Jan's watch.
Clever boy.
Yeah, this guy's just not even looking at you, Jan. He's kind of like, yeah, no, but you know, I mean, is it the fame? Is it the money? Is it the girls? Yeah, it is. But it's so much more,
I think
too.
Petra's so used to being the center of attention that it doesn't even really click to her that this guy's a slime ball and that he's being really rude. She's just like, oh, that's fantastic. It's so wonderful that you're able to travel the world. I mean, tell me about some of the places that you've been. She just kind of goes off.
Jan, what do you do?
Are you a little bit starstruck? I don't know that it's the rudeness has crept in so much as just like, oh, here are definitely two people who are just from another world, and he's watching them and trying to like pretend that he might fit in here for a minute. So it's, I mean, so every once in a while there's like a, oh yeah, just like when you were in, you know, I read about it in the paper.
Yeah, and his
to, find any sort of in to be like, oh yeah, I connect and relate to this.
But you're literally talking like the back of his head. He's like, yeah, And then, you know what? After a second, he just turns to you. He's like, actually, you know what, kid? Maybe you could scram and leave the lady and I to talk. And Petra, you see this, and you see Jan's. Well, Jan, how do you react to this first?
I mean, there's definitely a moment of like that would. There's almost like he almost goes to comply. He's definitely he was in the army. Somebody of a higher rank than him gave him an order. So there's a moment of like, oh yeah, I should just do that. Wait, that's not.
Vic, I'm sorry. This is my friend Jan, and he and I are spending the evening together.
I don't care if he's your friend, darling. If you want to hang out with Vic, then lose the loser.
I mean, you should stay with Vic. He seems nice.
Oh, yes. Well, there's plenty of nice boys to go around. It was a pleasure, Vic.
Hey,
I'm sure.
And he goes to grab your arm.
Oh!
And he says, listen, dames like you would kill for a chance to be with a guy like you.
Unhand me! You don't know who I am.
And
Mr. Tanetta, you don't have to stop.
Give me a roll. Persuade, charm, fast talk, intimidate.
Oh, God, I'm not intimidating.
I think definitely intimidate.
I'm trying to be intimidating, but I'm not.
You know what? Yeah.
Well, I got a 1. I rolled a 1.
Yeah!
So tell me how you succeed at intimidating.
So it's really just like a dead-eyed stare. There's just it's just, Mr. Tanetta, you're gonna have to stop. But it's very cold. It's very even. It's firm. It's just the truth. I've told him, and he hears it.
Jan, when you say this, where is your mind? Is it at a previous point in your life, maybe?
It's one of the few moments that, like, it's in all of those moments he never does. It's all those moments where he's like indecision, stuck between two things, wants to do one thing. This is the opposite of that. It's one of the few times he like actually does the thing he wants to do, and it happens in front of him. It's part of this, like, being in another world, being on this boat, being somewhere else. He's also actualizing in a way he's never been able to do before.
And Vic's eyes meet yours for perhaps the first time since he's come over, and he studies your face for a moment, and he sees the subtle scars from the war, and he sees the depth in your eyes and the flatness, the confidence of your words, not just the way you said them or how you said them, but the absolute certainty of what you said. And he almost stutters. Okay. And
I really like your music. I hope you have a great set. Good
and
night.
he sort of steps back, and after a moment catches his confidence weakly back. It's not worth it anyway. He turns around and he heads back to the stage with his little tail between his legs.
I ever been treated so poorly? Jan, you did such an amazing job. Thank you. I can't imagine what would have happened if you weren't here. Bartender. This is like
An emergency.
Petra's like fallback. What will you have, Jan? You'll have a scotch.
Yeah.
2 scotches.
A double.
2 double scotches coming up for you, miss. And he pours them. Cedric, what are you doing?
All right, so I watch Raymond. I watch him go over to a table of a finely dressed older gentleman and a very elegantly, almost gaudily dressed woman with short hair. And he serves them well, and he pours their champagne. And I wait for him to leave to go back to...
and he does. He actually spots you first, and he's like, "Oh, hi, Cedric." And he sort of nods as he continues walking away.
And I gesture to the back hall, indicating that I want to speak with him.
Is this Kingsley?
No, this is Raymond.
Raymond, okay.
This is Raymond.
And he sort of confused, walks over, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And he heads over and puts the big sort of metal tray down under his arm, his white gloves, and his white shirt, sort of looking at you, confused. "What's wrong, Cedric?"
I just wanted to let you know that I've been watching you and your performance tonight, and I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been trying to follow your example. You're such a kind concierge, speaking to all the people, knowing what they need at all times.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, you're looking them in the eye, you're listening, you are being prompt. The only thing I can't wrap my head around is, why are you wearing Mr. Catton's watch?
And his face drops a little bit. What do you? And he sort of tucks his arm down a little bit. What do you mean? Why am I wearing Mr. Catton's watch?
Mr. Catton has declared that his watch is missing, and there are people looking for it. And if they were to find it on you, it would not be good. For your own safety, I demand that you hand over the watch. Now, I'm not going to report this to anybody. I'm just going to return this to Mr. Catton and say that I just found it on the ground. Everything will be fine. Nobody's going to blame you, Raymond.
Give me a persuade.
Okay. So what is the difference again between persuade and charm?
Charming is to befriend. You're already friends with this guy. Persuade is to convince somebody of what you're trying to pitch them. So fast talk is deceive. So fast talk is tricking. Intimidating is intimidating. Persuade is convincing them your way. Charming is to befriend them.
Okay. So I'm going to roll... a critical success.
Yeah. You guys.
Raymond is like, okay, listen, please don't say nothing to anybody. I need this job. I really do. You know my dad is sick.
I already told you I'm not going to tell anybody. And you are doing a fantastic job.
It was just sitting out there.
As
I
long
was
as you
turning
do
down
more
the
like
rooms.
this.
I swear, I never did anything like that before. It was cast aside. It was under the side table. I thought no one would notice if I just picked it up, but please.
Well, you're right. And there was a time in my life that I would have done the same. Now, what do you do? in that situation. Next time, if you see someone's watch standing out, what do you do?
I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to pick it up and put it back on the nightstand.
That works. Have a good night, Raymond. Keep up the good work.
Good night, Cedric, and thank you. And he sort of abashedly goes back towards what he was doing. And Cedric, as you walk across the dance floor towards Yan and Petra, you see the two of them toast scotch, and for a moment your smile watching them is a genuine smile. Two people that are obviously happy, not knowing what has just happened to them, but the success in their toast fills you with a sense of warmth as suddenly the ship jolts. All manner of things lurch forward a good 2 feet. You hear the crashing of dishes and a few screams as the large chandelier above you swings from side to side, struggling to stay attached. The ship growls loudly. The hum of the engines in full reverse quake the floor beneath your feet, sending ripples up your spine, and then all at once it stops. A single plate smashes off of a table and everybody begins talking wildly amongst each other. What is going on? You hear a scream in the distance. Movement in the corner of the room catches your eyes. It seems like some are running out of the room, but the ship for now has stayed quiet. Everyone looks around, perplexed and confused. The large bay windows look out to the night. It is pitch black outside, and yet thick snowflakes fall, almost filling the outside world in a flurry. They fall slow and quietly, almost without wind.
Can I roll a spot hidden?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just haven't rolled anything yet. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
just wanted to do a roll.
just
No!
No,
I
yeah,
see
you-
nothing.
You don't. You do see a man, I will say, just because you're looking around, you see a man in Captain's White's first mate, you would assume, enter the ballroom, and he runs to the captain, who is actually helping an older woman up. People are all over the floor. Some people are falling over. You see a table flipped. It is quite the scene. But nothing has smashed. It just seems like it's come to a very fast stop. And you hear him sort of say something quietly in a hushed tone, but loud enough to overhear with a listen roll, Yan.
Yeah, I got ears.
2 of them.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's successful. in all ways.
Jesus, you guys are going crazy on this success. Yeah, so
Not me.
you hear the first mate say something to the captain, something like the snow has caused a bit of difficulty seeing, but no damage was done. And as you're talking, people are moving out of the lounge towards the top deck, towards the top side of the ship, and they're frantically filling the staircases to go look at something. You hear people talking. You can see it from the top, and people are moving, and the sort of sea of people are heading to the top.
I think we hit something, Petra. Do you want to go look at it?
Yes, of course. Let's go.
Cedric, what are you doing?
I hear them. Is there a second? Like, there's the top floor, but then there's the lower floor that we can get to the.
Yeah, you can get to the
so the
outside from a
second
few
floor
different
down.
places. Yeah, you can get to the outside from.
Yeah. So I catch them and I say, we'll have a better view if we go down a stair.
Oh,
Amazing. Yeah. So you do that, and you're also not fighting against the crowds. And as you move out, you open the winter wind to the winter wind of the ocean, and immediately you're sort of frigid. But you're greeted to an eerie sight. The snow is falling thick and white, but slow. The entire ocean is... There's small waves far down below you on the black water, and the bright white moon is illuminating the snowflakes, but it's just thick. You've never seen snow fall this slow on the ocean. You've seen it many times in the city when not much wind is up, but the ocean is so still and quiet, it falls silently, and only the hum of the ship sort of fills the noise. The wind is again completely gone, but as you're looking through the snow, you see it off the bow towards where the ship was pointed, a small cargo ship. It sits on the water, still and quiet, almost completely lost, if not silhouetted by the moon, and it looks anchored. Give me a spot hidden roll, somebody. Say Joe, because you've I haven't got to roll that much.
I would love to, except I think that Petra is distracted right now.
Oh, great. With what?
She is staring up into the sky, and these huge white flakes are just falling everywhere around her. She seems to be somewhere else.
Okay.
Cedric's very much in the same boat. And he looks up. And for an instant, he has just this image of childhood, of standing out in the snow a little bit later than he was supposed to in the darkness, and watching the heavy snowflakes fall and opening his mouth. And a big grin spreads across Cedric's face as he watches that fall down in the silence.
Jan's very much the opposite. It's a crisis. He just had a moment where he was able to get something done. He can help. He knows there's something he can do. There's another ship. There's got to be something.
Give me a spot hidden then.
Yeah. How do you feel about a 15 is good? That looks like it's a critical, whatever the 1/5 thing is.
Extreme
Hard.
success.
1/5?
Hell yeah,
Wow.
Jan.
Yeah.
Something's not good here.
Well,
Okay, you see...
Up against me.
Yeah, you see a small boat, like a paddle boat, paddling across the water towards the massive stopped cruise liner. A man in the moonlight. It's almost impossible to see through the snow and through the moonlight, but you, with an extreme success, happen to see it, and you see a man waving wildly, and more importantly, because you can see like a
Overboard.
fucking eagle.
Someone's overboard. We gotta get rope.
No, he's
We gotta help
in the
them.
boat. Sorry, he's in a boat coming towards
There's a
you.
little dinghy over there. We gotta get them up on here.
Yes, and you see there's actually a boy lying down as well. A young boy lying across the front of this dinghy, and a man with his back to you who's paddling. And you call out, and actually he turns up towards you, and as he can hear you spot him, he reaches down and points something up in the air, and a bright orange flare fires up and pops loudly in the sky, as you can hear all of the onlookers on the top deck turn and start shouting and calling as well. And after a few moments, the crewmen extend a life raft over the side, and it drops down next to them, and you can see this unfolding as they help them onto this boat and start wheeling it up. And from your advantage on the second deck, you actually see this boat passing on the way up, and you get a clear view. You see an older man in sort of a faded jacket, a deep cut on his left eye, and he's standing over a young boy who looks dead. His face is white in the dim light of the cruise ship as they're being lifted up with two crewmen on either side. The man is frantically looking to the crewmen and back to the boy as they continue up to the top deck. And we're going to stop there for the mid-game post. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Call of Cthulhu. My name, as always, is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and I am here with the lovely Mr. Rob Deobald, the handsome Mr. Justin Thomas James, and the absolutely stunning Ms. Jo Fallak.
Go on.
I
They call her
will.
old green eyes.
And this is Call of Cthulhu. How's everybody doing tonight?
It's good to be back in the Cthulhu mythos.
In the Cthulhu
Yeah.
chair.
20s.
You
Bring
guys
on
are
the
back in the
campaigns.
yeah.
I
in the-
appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
We're so happy
Yeah,
to have you,
welcome.
Rob. Rob is a good friend of ours. He helps out and sort of co-runs the Toronto Area Gamers, as well as a convention that's coming up here that we've talked a lot about, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. I'm going to throw it to Rob to talk about that. But we are so happy to have him here, and more importantly, we're so happy to have you, the community, here hanging out with us, getting into the spooks, as they call it.
Oh, that's so loud. We gotta learn. We gotta figure out how to turn that down.
No regrets,
Turn
no-
it way up.
Up, no
Oh,
regrets. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is, of course, the INVICTUS stream. If you haven't watched the first Call of Cthulhu game, that's okay. You start here. You do you. First and foremost, I want to thank and sincerely acknowledge all of our Patreon supporters. You guys make so many things possible, including the return to this fantastic campaign. You've made connections easier with people like Rob. You've made all of the ideas that we've had come to fruition. So thank you so much. The podcast, absolutely. So thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. If you do support us, you already know that we are releasing weekly enigmas like we did in the original Call of Cthulhu to our Patreon supporters. Little riddles that will give you XP if you're the first to solve, or just XP if you solve at all. That's sort of our way to congratulate and thank you guys during the Call of Cthulhu campaign. If you're not a Patreon supporter but you're thinking about doing it, you should do it because it's awesome. There's a lot of fun stuff we like to do there. Also, if you like the first Call of Cthulhu campaign and you want to be a Patreon supporter, there's also a little bit of meta story that you get to find out when you join the Patreon. So there's a lot of reasons to do it. Monthly videos, all the campaign notes, including this campaign notes, and the weekly enigma. So please consider joining, and most importantly, thank you to those who do support us currently. Shaboobidoo. Secondly, I want to do a big shout out to our boys at Chronicle Brewery, the sexy gentlemen who, oh, look at that mind flay.
I'm currently enjoying a Mind Flayer IPA.
What a gorgeous Vanna White little run that you got there.
I am uniquely situated to do that.
Yeah, very much so. But thank you guys. We ran some games with them on Saturday, which was a lot of fun, and they provide us a lot of booze to wet our whistles, and they're just awesome guys. Sincerely, they make a lot of really nice beers, and they're always happy to work with us on all this stuff. Johnny is in the comments right now, following along.
Yeah. And if you guys are in the area and you want to show up, they're having a Mario Kart tournament at the brewery this Friday.
Yes.
So show up and it's enter to win fabulous prizes. Glittering prizes.
Oh, glittering prizes.
That's a cheat code.
I know it is for Warcraft 2. I think it's Fungal in the Jungle, I think is what they went with.
Yeah, that's like
name.
a Toad versus DK.
Yeah, it's really good. And also like a wrestling twist, which I was never into wrestling, but
their beer is amazing.
it really is. The other thing I wanted to mention, which came up during that, is if you are watching this on YouTube, please like the video. It makes us feel really, really good. That's about the only reason you're going to get. Also,
every time we get a like on the video, Harlan gets to eat a cheeseburger.
I do. Is that a rule? Can we make that a rule?
It's a rule.
Wow.
I would like a lot of cheeseburgers.
That'll be interesting.
Every time a thing rings.
Didn't what's his name do a documentary on what happens when you?
Oh yeah,
that?
Supersize Me.
It's very bad. Don't do it actually.
I didn't say it was going to be from. It could be like the Stormcrow Manor cheeseburger where it's like a random die roll every time.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Please like the video. Also, make sure you join the Facebook group. The Facebook group is where we hang out, it's where we chat, where we have a really fun time during the week. And you also have a chance to win MVP, which I'm going to announce in a bit. Also, that's the link to the Discord, which is even more important. So Discord, Facebook. I mentioned Rob Deobald, this really handsome gentleman who is playing the wonderfully relatable Yan.
Definitely a person.
Well, what I mean to say is like everyone in the chat while you're talking is like me IRL. That's me.
Yeah.
Like this like.
Jan is already a crowd favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like playing it very real. You're like, oh. Jan is nervous in the situation. He doesn't know how to talk to like the celebrity, so he's just sort of like dealing with it. It's really good. Rob Deobald is our guest joiner, streamer, guest whatever for this at least
player.
Yeah, guest player, guest friend, real friend, guest streamer. But Rob, what do you do tag wise?
So I'm one of the organizers for the Toronto Area Gamers, which is TorontoAreaGamers.com. We're like 2,500, 2,600 people in Toronto who like to play board games, tabletop games, role-playing games. We've got our next role-playing game meetup. It's in the beaches in Toronto this Sunday. So if you want to go to TorontoAreaGamers.com and click the link and come play games with us, that would be cool. We do those events, monthly. We do a whole bunch of other events all the time. And we'd like to play games with you. If you ever need an excuse to come to Toronto, there's also Breakout Con in March 15th to 17th. It's a convention that a bunch of us from the Toronto Gamers are a part of, and we help organize. It's it's got a real big focus on board games, tabletop games. It's got the most RPGs in Canada at a convention. It's got a little bit of everything awesome going on. We've got some special guests like Joe and Harlan this year.
And it's got Rob.
Well, that too.
The most important.
Definitely come to Toronto, buy some tickets, come and play some games with us, and have an amazing time.
Yeah. So we are excited to do that. It's March 15th to 17th, breakoutcon.com. Go buy some tickets, check it out. Follow us on Facebook, all those fun things.
Even if you're not going to go, just buy some tickets. Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, give them away. Give them to somebody who wants to go.
Give it away now.
You should make that song. It sounds great.
That does sound like a good song, eh? By the blue cold pickled onions.
Onions?
The blue cold pickled onions, yo.
Great band name.
I think so.
Very Canadian. It's definitely the Canadian name.
Patent pending. But yeah.
That's how that works.
So yeah, that's what we got going on. Toronto Area Gamers and Breakout Con. Yeah, Joe and I are running games there. Justin, you said you're going to come to Breakout Con, right?
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. And Rob is incredible.
One more time for the listening audience.
For Justin.
BreakoutCon.com and TorontoAreaGamers.com.
And Breakout Con is the 15th to the 17th of March.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Sheridan Center downtown, if we didn't say that.
Sheridan Center.
Yeah, and I think Chris might be coming too. So you can meet the whole Invictus crew, plus guest star Rob.
You know what?
Come up to Toronto.
What, baby?
If we see you and you say, hey, I'm a broodling, I'm going to give you a sticker.
Damn straight. I'm going to give you a high five and a sticker. Well, between the two of us, we'll give you one sticker, but I'll give you a high five.
We'll have to find Harlan. Sometimes we're in different rooms because I'm doing like D&D and he's doing different RPGs. It'll be fine. Don't worry. We'll like organize the sticker high five thing.
I think maybe
card and just one to every Invictus member. You got to collect them all.
Or you know what? I think we'll just cut the stickers in half. And then it'll be like Wonder Twin powers. Like you get half a sticker, but you got to find the other to get the full sticker. Oh, you'd be cool.
About that. I don't know what struck me. But...
Now I'm getting really excited. What if all the stickers were transparent except for one piece, and you got like all of them layered on top of each other to make the full picture?
It sounds too thick.
I love it. I love a thick stick.
I like it. Or like if it was like all of our faces, and then you could take them and put them on gloves.
Oh my god!
Gloves.
That's some Marvin Tanner psychopathic thing.
We have a fan who does that already, so
he's my favorite.
We love you
so much.
I'm sure lots of people have been touched by Invictus, but still,
in more ways than one.
We love it.
Actually, kind of touching. What else do we have to say? I mean, you know that it's an 18+ show already.
Yeah, I don't think I said that, but you should know that it's called Cthulhu.
MVP.
Yep, I'm getting there. When you join the Facebook group, you have a chance to win MVP. MVP is the way that we acknowledge how awesome a community you are. It is the most valuable post. It's the post of the week that we acknowledge, distinguish, whatever. We rise it out of the ashes of the rest of the posts and say, you done good, kid. And this week, I would like to announce it to the one, the only, our very special friend, Ms. Cue up sound effects, Ms. Brianna Weber. For her awesome mood board post. She rewatched our campaigns and was making mood boards based on the feelings that they were giving her, which I thought was a really cool way to do that. I also want to give a shout out, not XP, but a shout out to my good friend Mr. David John for his recreation of these Call of Cthulhu characters in Arkham Horror card game, which is really cool. And I've never played Arkham Horror card game, but for people who have, getting to add us to the game is a really cool idea. Have you ever played that, Rob?
I have played Arkham Horror once or twice. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, so
it's a commitment, but it's great.
Well, so David will probably do a card for you as well, so you can play yourself as Yan.
Goodness, immortalized.
Yeah, in the card
Yan will be a playable character.
Actually, there's a few ways that... Well, I mean, Dustin is our Chaosium representative. He works for... I was going to say Cthulhu. He works for Chaosium. Well...
next best thing.
Who knows? But he actually sent me a PDF based on some of the ideas that I wanted to fulfill in this game. I didn't end up using any of them, but a shout out to my boy Dustin, who I love very much, and I hope he's doing well. I didn't see him on chat tonight.
It's not on tonight.
No,
We've actually had a lot of new viewers showing up for tonight.
Have we now?
Audio Ahmed showed up last session, so
right.
Hey, Audio Ahmed.
Yeah.
Yo!
We have who else?
The blue pickled
Alyssa
herring peppers.
Fadden has been hanging out. Sorry, Alyssa Fadden has been hanging out with us. Nick Barclay, welcome, both of you. So excited to meet you and see you and interact with you. If you want shout-outs like this one, hang out with us on Discord.
If you want shout-outs, like that should be like a, not telemarketing, but what's it, like a 1-800 number?
Guys.
If you want shout-outs.
David changed his username to David and Christina because his wife is watching for the first time. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
David Johns, long-time listener, first-time caller, except not first-time caller at all.
Yeah, not at all.
So excited to see you.
But yeah, if you want to be a part of the INVICTUS Love Fest, all you got to do is join in, chat along to the Discord. Crazy how popular that thing came in like a short time, eh?
Discord, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was like nothing. Now it has games. It's a game store as well.
Is it really a game store?
Yeah, I got that last year on it. Anyway, I think that's it for the mid-game boost, unless anyone else has anything to say.
Oh, I kind of wanted to go to the bathroom. Can I do that?
Is it because I said boost?
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye. Now we can talk about her. Oh, man.
I might run away and grab a drink quick, too.
Oh, shit. Justin, now we can talk about both of them.
Okay, well, I think they're both great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
You know. How are you doing, buddy? How are you liking playing Cedric?
So far, it's very interesting.
Yeah?
It's like I'm still figuring out Cedric. I don't know how predictable he's gonna be.
I think it's good. I was trying to give you with Sly. I was trying to give you the ability to like step away from your duties and allow yourself to be more free. I don't know if that was clear.
Right, with him saying like, oh, like, you know, go do your own thing.
Exactly. So I want you to, because I want you to also, I think it's tough because you've done this a few times where you play a character that has a job within the context of the campaign or story.
Right. Yeah.
And you're
you kind of you're expected to do things.
Exactly. You're torn between like doing what you would do in the role-playing sense or being able to step outside that and like tell your own story.
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting, like looking at it through the lens of someone who is working, like especially on a boat like this. It's going to be interesting to get. I don't know if we're going to stay on this boat forever, or if we're going to be going on to land or something like that. But like how the story will take over from there and what will motivate me then will be different, I feel. But yeah, it is kind of interesting because like I don't know, I kind of like getting in the headspace of like, okay, like I'm just looking at what's going on and making sure that everybody's happy, and so those spot hiddens felt pretty appropriate. I felt
definitely. I think you did it. I think you did it well, and I really like how you handled Raymond and the Watch.
Thank you.
Which will be a long, famous story now. Raymond and the Watch.
It sounds like a fable.
It does.
Raymond and the Watch. There was a young boy. Was Raymond black? I was picturing him as a black kid.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was. I didn't say. Is that racist that we knew?
I don't know if I would have confronted him if he was white.
Yeah, I don't know. I pictured him as black too, but I don't think I did anything that was like.
No, I think what it was when you said like he looks up to me. When you said that he looks up to me, I was like, okay.
I didn't picture him black, until I picked his voice. That sounds racist. I was just thinking like a southern boy, and for some reason I thought black.
Yeah, no, it's like sometimes you just get an essence of a character, and you just are just like, oh.
I don't know. To say here's an interesting point. I was picturing Kingsley as Latino. I mean, I didn't say anything to make his voice different, but in my mind, he was,
Yeah.
Latino. So.
I just want to draw everyone's attention to my outfit for a second.
It's so gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this
Because
girl.
it's like fantastic up top, and then I'm straight up wearing like sweatpants. You only have to look fabulous from like the boots
I'm gonna say
up.
that I'm actually still wearing pants for the first time.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe.
I'm normally.
I'm
Can
in
you
the same
see?
boat, but
Yeah,
you-
yeah. I'm normally wearing
Up
like
me on the belt.
Wow, you
Yeah.
guys!
Real pants.
yeah
'Cause
business.
usually y'all are in like PJ
Nothing.
bottoms.
Business at the
Oh, yeah,
top,
PJ.
business at the bottom. Well, I want it
No.
to be businessy.
Well, I don't have a nice dress. I just have a nice tank top, so it's just sweatpants underneath.
Yeah, but you have also done your top half like 1,000 times better than us. So
no,
win.
there's no competition.
you're wearing contacts, babe. You're wearing different colored eyes. You win.
What?
Yeah.
All right,
You
we
were
ready
the one
to?
who wrote the thing about Petra having green eyes. So.
I
Oh.
didn't. Right.
I was like,
That was
fine, I
forced.
guess I will.
I didn't.
It's
add
like
that.
if you didn't wear them, he'd be like, "What are you doing? How are people going to believe that you're Petra?"
Who is this?
Maybe I did. write
How?
that. Well,
Um,
just be happy I didn't say Petra has one face. I mean,
Petra
damn
has
it.
double D breasts. Like, aw, dang. Dang it!
Anyway, I think we're ready to step back into this world. If you guys are,
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
perfect.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we return to Call of Cthulhu. The top deck begins to clear in the still falling snow as the boy and the man are wrapped in blankets and brought inside the ship. It's now later in the evening, and as you return back inside, you see people sort of muttering to themselves, murmuring, talking as they sort of flood slowly back to their rooms. Over the crowd, you can hear a few voices saying something about the man's wound. He was cut in the eye. What did that? Some about the boy. Oh no, he was surely dead. A boy that young, he's gone. The three of you shut the door behind you to the outside.
What do you think happened?
What?
That boy, the ship,
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm just having some kind of wild deja vu.
Are you okay? Do you need to sit down?
No, I'm all right. I had a dream last night.
A dream?
I feel like I saw that boy before. It's nothing, I'm sure.
No. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable sharing your dream, I'm not going to force you or anything like that. But if you'd like to share it, I'm interested.
As you're talking, a few people are pushing past you, and you sort of duck off to a side room. It's an unused kitchenette used for when the dining room is in full swing, and the three of you enter as the lights flick on to this sort of staff entrance area, a small prep area where the three of you can talk alone.
I'm sure it's nothing really, Cedric, but if you must know, last night, obviously, we were all out very late, and I came home drunk a little, and I dreamt of a boy floating in the water, and he said black water. I don't remember what else. There was a shirtless man.
In my dream last night, there was a towering wave, ships, the boy, and Blackstone. Thought it was a name, but couldn't find anyone on the ship with it.
You dreamed the same thing.
I don't know if it was the same thing, but it was very similar. Everything you're saying sounds.
I also dreamed Blackstone and made an error when I was typing.
The water was very black too.
The water was black. If you beg my pardon, would you follow me for a minute?
Who are you talking to?
Both of you.
Of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm going to bring you down to where we were pretty much last night. My room's just in the the 100s. And so I lead them down to the belly of the ship, down to the back, and it's a bit of a long walk, and we're walking past concerned cruise goers.
Mm-hmm.
And we make it to my room, and we can, smell the stench next to the men's washroom, and I don't really pay attention to it. I'm still smiling slightly, but my brow is furrowed as I open the door to my room. And my room is very cramped, very small quarters. It's a bunk room, but my roommate's bed is made, and so is mine. And the only thing that is out of place in this room is a small crumpled piece of paper that is sitting in the corner.
Mm.
And I pull out this paper and I unfurl it, and I say, did it look something like this? If you don't mind.
Oh.
And I hand it over. And it is a picture drawn, sketched with a pencil of the scene that I saw in my dream last night.
And it does look the same as it was in both your dreams.
Petra drops it to the floor. Oh.
Uncanny. What?
I'm sorry.
No.
Sometimes I when I can't sleep or if I have a bad dream, I get up and try to draw it out. It helps me out a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Are you playing a trick on me?
Oh no. This is the dream that I had last night. I'm sorry, Miss Saltzman. I shouldn't have shown it to you. I'm terribly sorry. This wasn't a good idea. I just thought that it was interesting.
She holds your hand, Cedric, and she reaches for Jan's hand as well. And she pulls both of you close to her. What we've seen here today, last night, in our minds, this is important. We were brought here to meet each other. This is a momentous day.
But what's it mean? I don't understand.
We don't entirely know, and I smiled broadly. We don't entirely know that we're the only ones that had this dream. It could have been everybody.
Sly must have, right? He was the only one there with us.
Yes.
Maybe
yes.
he did.
Yes, let's talk to Sly. Oh, that's a wonderful idea. And let's go see what's happening with those boats. And that poor boy. Petra's kind of coming back to herself now. We have to see about that little boy, if he's all right. Will you come with me?
Of course.
I'll join you, Miss Saltzman.
Give me a knowledge roll before you leave, Jan and Petra.
Okay. Knowledge what?
Knowledge idea? Sorry, is it idea? It's the one in the top right of your character sheet, the very, very top.
Yes, I succeed.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a 38 out of 40. I forget what the middle one is.
Yeah, so both succeeded. It's just regular success. Perfect. So you do recognize this drawing that he has provided you. However, both of you realize that it's from a slightly different angle than from what you saw. Whether it's important or not, who knows. You exit the room and you head back down the hall and you ascend the staircase to the first level. And as you do, you see a crowd at the top of the stairs towards the left. The stern of the ship, I should say.
And
Sorry.
Just outside the pursers.
Are they kind of gathered around something?
Yeah, you reach the top of the stairs and you exit towards the north of the ship map, I'll say, because I'm not going to bother with starboard and all that kind of shit. And towards the rear, down towards the doctor's office, you see maybe 3 or 4 people standing outside the doctor's door with a crewman standing in front of it, sort of trying to calm them down. And a few people in tuxedos and dressed up are sort of like, well, no, you can't just bring him on here. And you sort of see it's a bit of a kerfuffle.
I can't quite make out what they're saying.
Well, let's get closer.
Petra sort of shoulders her way through the crowd. Excuse me.
Yeah, and as you do, you see a sort of a bald man talking to the crewman. He's like pointing a finger, and he's older. He says, "And what if he's sick? What if he gets us all sick?" And the crewman, who's sort of getting pointed at, say, "Ladies and gentlemen, please just clear the area. There's nothing we can do right now. We're trying to do everything we can. We're just checking on the boy. Go back to your rooms. Go back to bed." And the crowd's getting a bit more heated, and the crewman, you can see, is losing his temper a little bit.
Petra marches straight up to the bald man, and she puts her finger on his chest. And she says, "And what if you get sick, sir? Where would we put you? In quarantine, of course, which the ship has and will make use of."
Give me an intimidation roll.
She's not an intimidating woman.
It would be persuade, no?
Why?
Or is intimidate a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can intimidate.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
I will try my very best.
Okay, you can always push it, and you can always do luck, remember.
Oh, you're cute.
53, not great.
Okay.
So pushing would mean that I get to roll again.
Yeah, I
by
might as well use
digging my
this.
heels in.
Yeah, so if you want to push this roll, the consequences will be worse, but you have another chance at it. Or, what is your intimidation at?
15%.
Or, yeah, you could try to spend enough points to go down to 15.
Not worth it, I don't think. But, Petra stamps a heel, frustrated at this man. "How dare you!"
And he sort of turns to you and says, "I don't see how this is any concern of yours. Would you be out of here?" And he turns back toward the crewman.
"Oh, some people." That's all I got.
Okay. And you just walk away, or do you like...
Yeah, she turns to Jan.
Okay.
Do something.
I mean, listen, friends. If he was sick, like you're worried about, you wouldn't want to be close to him, and there is no place closer than this door. So maybe it'd be a good idea to, tell the captain about it. He'd be the one who can fix it, and he's all the way over there, very safe.
So this would be a persuade.
Look it up for you.
So this would be a persuade. Same premise, but you did it in a different way.
Yeah.
So try persuade.
One is angry-like.
Charming or persuasive?
Persuading, because you're not trying to befriend him.
Right.
You're just trying to convince him.
I can hit 10. That's fine.
Oh boy.
Yeah, 59.
Yeah, no. So he's like, "What is this? The rabble? Cedric, are you going to do anything?
Definitely, yeah.
Show
Okay,
you
yeah,
rabble.
ladies and gentlemen, if I may say, it's not too late for this evening to end well still. Mr. Victinetta is still upstairs, and I do believe I can still hear the sweet dulcet sounds of his beautiful music. Now, do you want to spend your evening here looking at this sick person, or do you want to go enjoy yourselves like you planned on this trip?"
That is a persuade, but I'm going to give you a bonus die because you used the advantage of Vic, which may or may not be the case, but that's a really smart sort of use of that. So you're going to roll 2 percentile die and 1 of the other, and you're going to take the lower.
Okay, so 2 percentile and 1... Oh, but the only problem with percentile in this is that the D100s are D100s.
Oh, that's right.
Like, it rolls 2 die. So I'm going to roll 2d10 and blue.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to roll green 1d10, and then...
Yeah, take the lower of the 2 blues, and we'll just call those double digits.
Right, so then...
Sorry.
It's okay.
10 technically is a 0.
Yes.
Marvin Tanner gave us each 1 XP, I believe.
That's right.
Right?
Yes. Why don't we use that as an advantage die to anyone who would like to use it?
Okay, so I will do that the next time things
Perfect.
become
My apologies, I forgot.
serious. No, we all forgot.
Well, thank
It's
you,
a
Marvin.
collective failure.
Thank you, Marvin.
Yeah, thank you, Marvin.
Okay, so... Beautiful. Sorry, I'm just punching that in. Okay, I'll just go ahead and roll.
Rolling. What? Rolling.
Oh,
rolling.
61.
61 is my lowest. and I've got a persuade of 45.
Fuck.
So not quite enough.
Yeah, no. So this guy's like, listen, I don't know who you're dealing with here, but it's not me. Get the hell out of here. And the crewman sort of looks towards the three of you being like, guys, like, just, I'm doing my job. He's like, the crewman's actually getting annoyed at you guys too. He's like, listen, I need less people down here as I can stand. And he turns to the crowd and says, I'm not moving. You can point your fingers all you want. And he just sort of continues standing there, and they continue making a noise.
Let's go find Sly.
Don't you think someone should stay here and keep an eye on this poor boy?
The boy's got a lot of eyes on him right now. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Just take a look at the map.
Ooh, where are we?
You're at the doctor's office.
Well,
The doctor's office is on the northwest side
It's on the-
of the coat room. We're on the outside, on the promenade.
You are. Do you see where the main you're on the C deck at the back of the boat.
Yep.
you-
Found it. Okay.
So you came up the stairs between the purser and the doctor. You took a left at that door.
yes.
You may notice something about the doctor's office.
There are 2 doors.
Ah, that was a freebie.
Sure.
Any future thing you can just roll knowledge for.
Nice.
Now you can do what you want with that
job.
knowledge, but
Let's forget about it.
Go back to the stairs,
Ignore.
march up one side, down the other, take a right.
Perfect. Yeah. So you see the back door has nobody at it. In fact, this is typically where the deliveries would be. I mean, anyone who comes in and out comes through the front door of the doctor's office. This back is almost indistinguishable from the wall except for a keyhole that unlocks the back.
Jon, what are you planning?
Well, Cedric, you must have keys to things, right?
I don't have keys to everything.
And you do not have keys to the doctor's office, unfortunately. Only because of all the drugs and stuff in there.
Right.
Oh, well, I got it. I'm just going to knock on the door.
Okay. Let me... Alright, let's see what happens.
Is that?
It's a thing for sure.
It's definitely a thing.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, so you hear movement inside, and a few seconds later, the doctor opens the door. He's like, oh, can I help you?
We were wondering
Sorry,
if we could help in any way. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We were the first ones to spot the boy. We saw him come in. We just wanted to see if there's anything we could do to help. I mean, I'm sure you've probably got a ton of stuff going on, but we're really concerned, and we wanted to do whatever we could.
Okay. Give me a persuade, I guess, or charm. What are you trying
I'm
to?
charming. I'm charming as hell.
Sure. I guess you're trying to befriend him in a way.
Yeah. I just want to know that this boy's okay.
Sure.
Oh yeah, 98, or 89. Not doing it.
So he's like, the boy's fine. He's in the doctor's office, and
Thank goodness.
he sort of looks between the three of you as he's about to
Is
shut the
there-
door, and I'll let you collectively offer one more solution.
Is there anything that I can get for the boy? I'm a concierge here. I can help out. If you need a runner.
Let's do chance. 3, 1 to 3. He'll need something. All right. Yeah, he says, actually, yes. I need more filters for his breathing apparatus. If you can quickly get me a box of filters, that would be very much appreciated. And then he goes to shut
Definitely.
the door.
All right.
Low.
And I'm just going to do a spot hidden in the door, just as he's...
Yeah, no, he's like
Good
standing in it.
call.
Well, you can try, but you won't see. There's nothing really to see. But you know what? Why don't you give me a listen roll?
I would love to.
Okay.
Do it.
Well,
Ketch is very
it was
nosy.
his
She's a
idea.
great listen.
Fair.
Oh, never mind then.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. I mean, you'd be listening anyway.
Good, because I got a 20.
Good. Yeah, you hear the distinct sounds of like a beep and a breathing machine, like a and yeah, the door shuts.
Okay. So, any ideas, guys? I know where the filters are, but what's our angle to get in there? Do we want to get in there?
We need.
I mean, I'd like to. Go ahead.
Go on.
Oh, this is cute. I think that.
Please, you first. Really, I insist.
What were you gonna say?
It would be
Jan?
nice to see his face, just to make sure we're all dreaming about the same boy.
Right.
But
It's a weird out of context quote.
I live for it.
So the man who was in the boat with him, did we see him when we were on deck? With the crowd?
You saw him move through. Yeah, you saw his cut. He's like a deep gash on his left eye. His left eye.
Right.
I wonder if maybe some money would help. I could pay the doctor for a report on the boy, or I don't know, something.
Okay, well, let's start with the filter. And I'm just wondering why we're doing this. I mean, we could be up and enjoying Vic. I mean,
Enjoy.
we're looking for this boy, and I understand that this is important somehow, like you were saying downstairs. And do you guys feel that this is connected to our dream?
Cedric, I have a real deep gnawing feeling that there is something bigger than us that is looking at us right now. Something that is waiting. Something that's waiting for us to do something. And I feel like this is our chance to meet with destiny. Does that make sense to you?
It sounds like you're describing the Lord.
Well, I'm not an altogether religious person. But if you'd like to call it that, then I suppose. What I mean to say is, this is a mystery such as I've never encountered in my life, and I would be torn apart if I had to miss it.
Well, it's just I've never experienced the same dream as two other people.
Neither have I.
As I opened the door to the storage room. What about you, Jan? Why are you thinking that we should investigate this boy? Because he's the same one as our dream?
I mean, that's obviously fascinating. I have no explanation for it, but it, like, even if you hadn't dreamed this, I know it's too. That dream haunts me. Like the boy half dead, pulling him out of the water. I can't run away and go get it. I want to be there to help this one. It feels very familiar, very. But he's safe now. He's in the doctor's hands. You know, so I think we got to start figuring out why the three of us. Why this dream was? Is it also slime? What about James? James was also in the room last night. I mean, it's five of us.
Could be. Jan, I feel like we really irritated that doctor. Cedric, why don't you bring the filters and see what there is to see inside the doctor's office? Maybe get a good look at the boy. Jan and I could go and find the man who was on the boat and see if he knows anything.
With the eye.
Yes.
That sounds like an exceptional plan, Miss Saltzman. I'll do that right away.
Thank you, Colin Burkhart.
Can I do a spot hidden quick just to see if I see the watch as he's running away?
Oh, yeah. Sure. I forgot. He never gave that back to you.
I never gave it back to you. Yeah, I'm not wearing it.
No, it'd be in
It's
his
in your
pocket,
pocket?
though. Yeah.
I got a 32. My spot hidden's 45.
Yeah, no, because it's in his pocket. I forgot. This
Okay.
Unless you could see.
Sorry, dude.
through-
You, fine.
Sorry. Good thinking, though. I forgot about that. Okay, so you go back to the doctor's office. You're splitting the party. Classic death move. I'm just kidding.
Send me to the sick exploding
Boy.
child.
So you go back to the doctor and you knock on the door?
I knock on the door, yeah.
And he opens it up. Do you have the filter?
Yes, here they are. And do you need anything else? Some alcohol? Do you need any help in there? I don't have much skill in medicine, but some help might be better than none.
No, it's fine. Again, persuade, charm, fast talk, whatever you want. If you want to try something. Otherwise, you can still catch up to them.
I just say quickly, okay, but before I go, between you and me, I know you're an excellent doctor. What is wrong with him?
He's in a coma.
That's it? You haven't found
I
anything
believe he
strange
suffered
about
from brain hypoxia, probably from what the man had said, that he was drowned. Lack of oxygen, shock to the body. I'm putting him on a breathing machine to see if we can get oxygen to his brain right now, but it's difficult.
It's as simple as that.
Well, I think so, yes. I've only just got him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doctor. I appreciate the information.
Of course. And he shuts the door.
And I run back to catch up with the other two.
Yeah, and you meet them on the stairs. Petra is like mid-story.
And that's when, that's the very first time that I ever went swimming.
I love that. That's so good.
It was really just,
I feel much more secure knowing that if you fell in the water, you'd be able to take care of yourself. I would hate you to end up like that boy.
Of course, I've got a 30 in swim.
Wow.
So good.
Out
So
of
yeah, Cedric catches up.
Oh, Cedric, that was so fast. What did you learn?
Not a whole lot, to be honest, Miss Petra, or Miss Saltzman.
Please, you can call me Petra.
Oh, thank you, Petra. Yeah, he basically told us what we already knew, that it seemed like this boy had drowned, and he's got him on a breathing apparatus to make sure he's okay. I don't know, maybe this isn't anything. Maybe this is just something we'll all laugh about when we arrive in Egypt.
No. Let's go talk with that man.
So where are you heading?
To the man!
Give me a knowledge roll, Cedric, with an advantage.
The man. And the man had the scar on the face, right?
Correct. Cut on the face.
The man with the scar on the face, and the green grass grew all around, and the green grass grew all around. Hey!
All right, 27 for knowledge. What kind of knowledge?
Ship knowledge. So yeah, you would know that anyone that would be brought on with this sort of scenario would be questioned directly by the captain, which would be in the captain's office or perhaps the bridge.
I'm thinking the bridge, because there's probably lots of important things going on right now, and that might be where we find them. So there are 3 ways into the bridge, I say to them as we're making our way to the top deck, the A deck. There are 2 doors that lead out onto the deck itself, and then there is another kind of vestibule area that leads in from the internal hallway. We might be able to...
I should say you primarily believe it's the office. The bridge is an alternative, I would say.
I see.
But you can definitely do both. Would be what you know. Because the bridge has everyone around it, the crew. And depending on the severity, the captain might want to speak to him one-on-one. You know what I mean?
Where is the office?
I just saw the bridge first, and I didn't know where the office was.
Yeah, the bridge is the big one.
The office is... it's unlabeled. It's directly behind... So this is what you would know as well. The captain's quarters are 402. A connecting door between his room and the office is right directly beside it, and the office also leads to the bridge and out to the hall. So
perfect. Okay, so that's the third. Yeah, that's the third way in that I was describing.
Yeah, sorry, that's his office.
Okay, perfect. So I tell them as much and say, yeah, let's go in through the office way first and see if there's anything that we can
steal.
Maybe we shouldn't. And I stop them and I say, maybe we shouldn't knock on the door, and maybe we should just listen.
That's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah?
I've spent many a delightful afternoon listening at keyholes when my parents were having tea parties, learning all kinds of salacious details about my neighbors.
Well, I don't know what to say to that, Petra. All right, well, listen.
As you arrive up the... Jan, do you agree with all this?
Feeling duly chastised, I quietly put on behind them.
Oh.
Subtly chastised.
It landed, don't worry.
The knocking wasn't a bad move at the doctor's office. I probably would have done the same. I don't know what I would have done. I don't think listening would have done anything.
As Cedric, like, hello. Of course you would have. That's the only way that Cedric knows how to do shit.
That's
it's like,
how I...
Hi, I'm here to help.
Sorry, I didn't mean to chastise you.
No. Jan can be chastised. I'm happy.
Anyway, so you arrive on the top floor of the ship to see a short hallway before you that leads towards the office, and you see a tall, thin East Indian gentleman in a deep blue suit and an off-white turban. He stands patiently, listening to a crewman at the end of the hall speaking to him. You can't quite make out what they're saying, but you see this man sort of smiling and nodding, similar to how Cedric does, towards the edge of this crewman. You kind of just see the man's nose. And I guess someone can give me a listen roll if they'd like.
I got ears. Let's do it.
Let's do it. You got the most ears. You got more than anybody.
I rolled a 2 and I got 75 ears.
Holy shit.
Come again.
Critical ears, my friend.
Extreme success. All right.
Your
so
eardrums are the most tender.
Succulent morsels.
I meant it.
So you hear the crewman. Listen, mate, I understand that you think that you belong here, but I'm telling you, the captain said no one's allowed in. Please head back to your room, and if there's anything we need, we will let you know. And you see the East Indian gentleman say, happily, and he says with a smile, I only thought perhaps I could be of some service, but if the matter is handled, then I bid you adieu. Please let the captain know that I am in room 323, should he require my aid. And after a moment, he sort of curtly nods and turns, walking towards you and towards the steps back downstairs. Do you just sort of stand at the top of the stairs? Do you hide?
Petra pretends to be crying as he approaches and is like leaning on Jan for support. She's like, I just can't believe that he said that to me. It was such a...
It's gonna be okay.
Of course,
Petra.
you understand.
We won't let it happen again.
It's just so shocking, you know.
Well,
give me a fast talk.
Oh boy, that's not gonna work at all.
Well, you're sort of trying to deceive in a way. Well, you're making up a thing that's not real.
Yeah, no, 25.
Okay. I mean, he's not malicious, but he stops and he's like, he's coming down the stairs, and you sort of oddly made a scene that diverted his interest towards you.
And Petra is wont to do.
And you see, I mean, he's this kindly looking man, again, in a turban, and he turns towards you, and he's sort of got a thin beard with a twirly mustache, and he turns to you and he says, are you all right, miss? Hopefully the shake of the ship didn't fret you too well. I heard you crying on your friend. And he sort of looks towards the three of you.
She's like, of course. I'm sorry, Mr.
Abdul Sarkar. And your name?
Oh, my name is Petra Saltzman. It's very nice to make your acquaintance, Abdul. I've just terribly upset the pianist downstairs, Vic Tanetta, who's got such a temper. He came on to me at the bar and grabbed my arm. My friend here had to defend my honor.
And
you
he sort of...
I was very upset.
And he sort of looks, kindly towards your pain. He says, that's quite despicable. I'm sorry to hear that such a renowned artist such as he is so deplorable. I apologize on behalf of all men. And he sort of turns towards the three of you and says, are you just heading back to your staterooms for the evening?
We're on a stroll to calm the nerves. Can you imagine finding people off the ship, this thing with Mr. Tanetta? It's been quite the day. Have you ever seen anything like it?
Give me a charm roll.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you like them apples? No. I got my charm 65, and that's a 61.
Yeah!
He
Motherfucker.
looks towards the three of you and he's kind of like, no, absolutely. Let me tell you, I'm a special officer for the British Navy, actually, and just on this cruise for personal reasons. But when I noticed that there was a ship off the bow and a few people coming aboard, I thought I'd offer my services to the captain, perhaps speak to the man. They brought him in there. I don't know what use I could be, to be honest, but in cases like this, I always try to put myself forward and help out in any way that I can.
I definitely get that impulse. I wish I knew more about ships. Like, did you see the one that was out there? I know they say where they're from and that kind of stuff on it. Did you catch any of that?
No, truth is that I immediately came up to the captain's quarters to try to speak with the man, hopefully get in on the interview. It seems like perhaps they are looking for a bit of help, but obviously not from me.
What kind of help do you think they need?
I don't know. I mean, these are cruise line crewmen. No offense, and he points towards you. They are here to aid and abet, not necessarily to help people in dire situations such as this. They do have a security officer in there, but he seems a bit brash for my taste.
Of course. Well, Abdul, I just so appreciate your concern.
No,
Is there
of course.
anything at all that we can do for you?
You're very kindly. No, I'm going to return to my room. I've given the man there, Mr. Turner, I think it was, my room number, so should they change their mind and look for a little bit of help, I've told them they can call on me. And you three are still just returning to your rooms then, taking a walk?
Of course. I just need a bit of air. I hope they do call on you. You seem like a gentleman with some sense about you.
Well, if they hear anything, or if you hear anything and they need any help, keep me in mind. And he sort of nods and says, good evening, and heads back down the stairs unless anyone stops him and wants to talk to him.
Cool, dude.
Perfect.
Abdul.
Right.
Yeah. Abdul,
So, yeah.
what was his last name again?
Sarker. Sarker.
Hells yes. Oh, I'm honestly, boys, I'm a bit at a loss. Cedric, what should we do now?
You're asking me.
You see
I
the
have a
crewman that
concierge.
is watching the door at the end of the hall, and he sort of just stands there looking a bit bored.
Okay. Do I recognize this man?
Give me some roll. I don't know, knowledge.
Yeah. I will
You didn't make
do-
many friends, so I'm
Turner, his name was, I think, right?
I'm gonna do
Turner.
Turner was the
Turner.
last name, yeah.
Mr. Turner.
Should we distract him? One of us lead him
Well,
away.
give me a knowledge roll first, because maybe I'll let you know if you maybe
If
do
I-
have a
if I
connection
know
with
this
them.
somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of knowledge is this? Is this
It's like idea.
Just
intelligence? What is it?
idea.
Yeah, intelligence, I guess. Sorry, I keep confusing. It used to be called knowledge, but it's intelligence.
Intelligence. Then yes, it succeeds.
Sure, yeah. Let's say you know him. He's one of the few men who sort of helped you get your bags to your room, sort of walked you around the first day. He didn't do your orientation, but he, like, walked you around. He was a fine man, a bit gruff, straightforward. Ooh! Give me a luck roll.
Ooh. Okay.
The suspense.
Success. What the heck?
Success?
Okay, I've got to look at my sheet because I've got 80 luck, which feels wrong.
I also have 80 luck.
No, you can. It's rolled. It's a high. It could be a high roll.
Wow.
You could. It's also a resource.
It's also a resource, so
Right.
it's the more you play the game, the more you spend it. But that's fantastic. So that's a hard success, which means you actually remember he stopped at one point during like the initial walk around, and you overheard him speaking to a crewman, complaining about money that he was owed, and you remember him saying that he really needs money, that he's like a bit tight on it. He's like, you fucking owe me that money, you get it to me tomorrow or you're done. And then he came back to you and kind of winked. He's like, I'm not really done with him, but I could use some money. And then you continued on your thing. So use that knowledge however you'd like.
Yeah, I'm going to mention that to Miss Saltzman. I'm going to say, Mr. Turner over there, I do remember from the other day there's someone who owes him some money, and he's in need of money. I don't know if he's ever going to get that money based on the person who owes it to him, but...
Oh. Okay. This is fantastic. So, do you think if I gave you as much money as you needed, you would come up with some kind of ploy that would get him away from the door?
I
have the funds.
Yeah.
We just need to come up with a plausible story. Maybe... I don't know.
I could bring him down to my room.
Yes.
And that might be too far, though. Oh, how do we get him away from the door? This is
Jan, do you
exciting.
have
I've
any
never
idea?
done anything like this.
You're not going to like my idea.
I might.
But
Kill
we
him.
could just walk up to him and say, "Here's some money. Take a walk for a while."
I mean, Cedric, do you think he would be amenable to that kind of solicitation?
He might. He just
I mean,
might.
You know him best.
Okay. I think that the man owed him $2, but if we gave him $4, I think he'd be
Here's
happy to
10.
walk away. $10, Petra. That's a lot of money.
Yes. And we need him to be quiet about this. Got it? He takes a walk and he doesn't tell anyone. And here's $10. Yeah?
Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do. Mr. Turner. Mr. Turner?
Oh, yeah. And he sort of was like out of it a little bit. He says, Benson, how are you doing?
Not too bad. A little bit confused about what's going on.
What are you telling me? Telling me what? She's fucking done. I'm just standing here putting people away. Is he with the two of you, or is it just...
No.
It's like down the hall, one
Okay.
corner away.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, I say to him, "Hey, listen. I'm very curious about what's going on, and I got some really good tips tonight.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
And I was just thinking that this would be a really good opportunity for me to take over what you're doing, to stand by the door and watch. And I'm sure the captain would be fine with it if you weren't there. What if I convinced you to switch with me? Because this would be a really good opportunity for me, Mr. Turner. And I have heard that someone owes you a little bit of money. What if I shared some of that tip?
Benson, you trying to get me here if it gets some more money?
How much do you want?
I don't know what you got.
Got $5.
Fuck, that kind of shit done. Hold his hands out.
All right. Here you go, Mr. Turner. Go
Cheers,
enjoy-
mate. Take you. And he walks down the hall, just whistling.
Oh, and Mr. Turner,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, just let this be between myself and the captain when he finds me out here. Don't tell anybody about
Benson,
this.
like,
There are
between
some other
you
people
and... Listen, Benson, it's between you and I.
jealous.
Fuck, I don't care about nothing else. Got £5 in my pocket. We're done. And he walks down the hall. And can I sidetrack for a second and just say, fucking thank you, Rob. You guys, listen, Joe and Justin, you guys are fantastic. Don't get me wrong, and you are absolutely right. But I cannot count the number of times people overthink bribing people in Call of Cthulhu. Literally every game of bribing in Call of Cthulhu, every time there's a bribe, people are like, okay, but how can we? Some people.
Not true. Not true.
So
Last
true.
time I played a Disney Hunt with you, I was money bags, and it was perfect.
No, I know, that's what I
Exactly.
mean. But like in conventions, I can't count the number of time people will be like, okay, but how can we present? When most often you just to be like, here's $10, fuck off, and they're like, done. But just it's really funny the way Rob did that. He's just like, honestly, just give him the money. It's like, yeah.
Well,
Sometimes
I guess in this situation it's a little bit different because again, like you said in like fast talk,
yeah.
you know, on a ship, like if someone finds out that this guy was shirking his duties, then that would kind of screw him over, right?
True, but he's got $5 in his pocket. Worst case scenario, he gets docked a buck or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
awesome. And he also doesn't know what's going on in the room. All they're like is like, hey, wait out here and don't let anybody in. He's like, I'm not letting anybody in, but I don't have to fucking stand here. Cedric came
And I mean,
up.
it's not like they could fire him and replace him.
Exactly.
There isn't a whole bunch of
That's
people
true.
to go hire
Exactly.
when you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean.
That is also true.
But I want to stress that Justin and Joe, nothing wrong with thinking things through because this game is built around making clever decisions. But bribing specifically is always the one people tend to overthink. When everything else should be overthought, bribing is sometimes the one that can be just like, eh. Anyway, yeah. So he walks down the hall. Yan and Petra. You have a clear shot to it, and the three of you go outside the door. So what are you doing? Are you going in? You listening? Just to paint the scene, there, again, this is the top floor of the Queen Mary. You know, dark oak wood walls, beautiful ornate lighting fixtures, a deep red carpet lines the floor, and you see the captain's room next to the captain's office. And you can hear sort of muffled voices outside the office door. And the captain's bedroom seems shut. Quiet.
I want to use my 1 XP
Yes.
from Marvin Tanner to listen roll.
Perfect. Outside the office.
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to roll 2d10 right now for my tens column.
Perfect.
And I got a 2. So it's 20. 20 straight up.
Brilliant. And your listen is?
Oh, my listen is great. That is a what's the medium?
Hard success.
That's a hard success.
Fantastic. So you crouch down like the Three Stooges listening to the voices on the other side of the office. And you hear a few voices. And this is the extent of what you hear. As I said, my name is Captain James O'Rourke of the Osiris. We left Arkham a week ago en route to London. We have a load of stuff in shipping containers below deck. I only have 4 men. Well, I had. One of them was a hired hand I brought on for this trip. A few days into our trip, during one of the routine checks of the cargo, my first mate, Sams, notices some odd things, like a few blankets left out. It's pretty common to have stowaways on a trip like this, but it's only a week. Clever ones never really get caught. Anyway, we found them. Man, woman, and a boy. Company orders are pretty clear on this sort of thing. We call it in and we report it to the authorities, and we get to our destination. But something made me feel for them. The woman, Helen, she was kind, sweet, obviously down in her luck. Oh, that's right, this guy's Irish. Down in her luck. She had a little boy, Richard, with them, so I decided to let them stay with us in the quarters. Let them be more comfortable than down in the engine room. Another voice speaks up. You recognize this as Captain Baker. You mentioned a man. Christian Velnick was his name. A man, if you can call him that. He wasn't with them. We thought he was at first, but she played it like he was, but it came out that she didn't even know him. He had threatened her before we had shown up, made it like they was together. Should have realised it when he didn't want to join us in the crew quarters. She was acting all strange too, but I thought it was because she was caught. Only now I know it was because of him. A few days went by, not much happened. Crew left the man alone. She spent most of her days in the kitchen with the boy at the table drawing pictures and the like. It was like that until one of my men, Dobson, wasn't turning up. It's not like them to disappear. Occasionally, might get drunk, wander off. But the Osiris isn't a big gal, so Sams went looking for him. Before we knew it, Velnick had cut the engine lines. When Sams woke Charles and me up, we ran to the bridge to see him sabotaging the telegraph. Charles ran in, but Velnick, he must have gotten into the weapons cabinet because he had a scattergun. Charles didn't even see the thing before it tore through him. Velnick made us drag Charles's dead body down to the cargo bay at gunpoint. But in the scuffle, we got the gun from him, and we ended up shutting him in the underside of the ship, Sams and I. We locked her down. No way to get topside the way we did it. Sealed nearly every entrance, deadbolt the last one to the deck, so the lunatic was locked inside. Figured we'd drift until we got spotted, only we didn't realise what we had done until we found the boy wailing for his mother. She had gone below deck before we sealed it up, locked a few entrances just to be safe. Sams and I argued about what to do, and that's when we saw your ship arrive. We were dead in the water. You nearly ran into us. Luckily, someone spotted us in time. So I took the boy. Sam stayed behind. He's there now, watching the door. And you hear some murmurs, which you can't quite make out. He says, "No, the boy fell in the water when we were trying to let him down. The cold must have shocked him. He nearly drowned. I think he is drowned. I don't know what your doctor's doing with him." And that's about as much as you hear when you hear some feet shifting next to the door, and you get a bit nervous that someone might come out. Do you stay there, or do you move?
I go back to the guard post, and I stand out there.
Okay, at the end of the hallway. So Petra and Jan, you're still sort of leaning at the door?
No, I feel like Petra and Jan are a little bit more gun shy.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably we move back to sort of around the hall. We'll let Cedric.
Yeah, keep be at least a couple of corners around, like plausible deniability distance, as it were.
Perfect. And yeah, you do see the door open, and you see a man walk out, and he walks right past you, Cedric, and you recognize this as the security officer, Edgar Donnelly, and he's followed by a nurse who you're not sure the name of, and he sort of points her down the hall, and she walks out, and she has some bloodstained rags with her as she walks down the stairs, and he turns around and he looks at you sort of with a perplexed look, and then turns back and walks back inside to the captain's office and shuts the door again.
Okay. So the nurse left. He came out, let the nurse out, and then went back in?
Correct.
Huh. Where's the nurse going? I gesture to the others to follow the nurse.
Yeah. And you can follow her. She heads downstairs to the nearest kitchen on the lower deck. She has a bunch of bloody rags. She tosses them in the laundry chute, starts washing her hands, throws out some needle and thread, and she sort of sees you as you walk in. She's like, "Good evening."
Good evening.
Hello.
Evening. I'm sorry. We followed you. It's terribly rude. It's just I was the first one. We saw the boy and the man come off there, and I saw you were talking with the captain. Can you tell us anything what was going on? It's just I can't get it out of my head. I'm so glad we saw them, but it's just such a scene.
Yeah, give me a persuade or a charm or whatever.
I'm charming. We'll be friends.
Yeah.
26 will do it. That's it's the hard success.
Nice. Yeah, she sort of smiles and says, "Yeah, that old man, he had a deep cut over his left eye, and what
happened to it?
Well, he said that that there were some stowaways on their ship, and that there was one of the stowaways went a bit crazy and killed everyone on his ship and tried to attack him and shot one of his crewmen, and that he and his first mate had to drag him down to the cargo hold, and that they accidentally locked a woman in there with this madman. Gosh.
It's a murder boat with a woman and a madman locked in it?
And she's sort of a bit tantalized by it. She's like, yeah. And
So is everyone dead aboard this ghost ship?
No. Apparently his first mate is still back there watching the door, and the madman and the woman are still trapped inside.
What's to be done?
I don't know. The captain, I think they're deciding amongst themselves. When I left, they mentioned that the crew wouldn't be able to do it. Something about regulations not allowed, so they would have to take volunteers, and no one is going to volunteer. I think they're just going to sweep it under the rug, to be honest.
That's such a scandal.
I know, but
So the captain's taking volunteers?
Well, I mean, in there's the security officer and the first mate, and the security officer is saying that they shouldn't say anything. They should just sweep it under the rug. But the captain seems perplexed a little bit, like he wants to believe the man, but that they wouldn't have anyone to go over in a boat. Could you imagine how silly you'd have to be willing to go across the water in that icy thing and rescue that poor woman? Anyway,
It would
and
be
she sort of
madness.
excuses herself and says, I need to go. And she heads back out.
We have to go.
Pardon me?
Are you with them?
Yeah.
Oh, am I with them? Oh, I came down afterwards.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still above. Sorry. Yeah.
We have to volunteer.
Really? This sounds like something that you want to do?
No, I don't want to do it at all. But we dreamed about it, and there's a woman over there trapped with a madman in a murder boat.
I want to do it.
What does it pay?
Nothing. Not a red cent.
You're not making this easy for me, Jan.
I'll pay you.
What? Petra?
Of course! This seems like the single most exciting thing that I've ever done in my life. And you have to be there. You simply have to.
I'll be completely honest. I had that dream, and it was terrifying, and finding out that you guys had the same dream was, I think, even more terrifying. And I'm kind of the same thinking of the captain. I kind of want to sweep this under the rug.
It wasn't the captain that was thinking that. It was the security officer.
Oh, sorry. I only caught the last bit there. I was a little confused on the details. But the security officer?
Cedric, if you do what Donnelly wants to do and sweep this under the rug, you're going to have that dream every single night. If we do this now, it's our chance not to be haunted by this.
Cedric.
Every single night.
Cedric, do you ever home by yourself and you hear the sound of something scratching against a window and all is dark? You have just one candle in front of you, or maybe just the hearth is lit. There's something scratching at the window. And you don't want to look, but you have to look. You have to walk over and draw the shade, to pull the drape away and see what there is on the other side of the glass.
Miss Petra, I'm going to stop you right there. My mama used to always tell me that if I ever think that I'm experiencing something scary, I just close my eyes and count to 10 and it'll go away. That's really what she always told me when I was having nightmares as a kid. And it's always worked. It's always worked very well. So I never felt the need to go and pull back those blinds. You do understand, Miss Petra.
Well, then I suppose if you're motivated by money, I'll have some of that. Cedric, you'll have to excuse me, but I feel like you belong here. With me and Jan.
All right, I think I've got it. Cedric, close your eyes, count to 10. The nightmares will be gone, and we'll go do it anyways.
You actually want me to do that right now?
If it would make you feel better. There's no shame in that.
I've got a job. I've got a great job on a boat.
But now you've got a mission.
And my
There's a
smile
woman.
falters as I consider and listen to Jan's words. There's a woman who's unsafe, who needs to be saved.
There's a boy who needs his mother.
There's a boy who needs his mother.
He needs to know what Mama's going to say to him.
All right. Okay. Jan, Petra. All right. You guys want to volunteer for this? I will volunteer with you. I will be
Yes!
your concierge on this mission, as you say.
And the three of you turn around and head back up to the captain's office. And as you sort of approach the rounded corner, the door opens and the captain steps out for a moment, shutting it behind him. As he sort of turns, and he's a bit shocked to see you, and he's kind of like, "Oh,
Captain Baker?
Yes.
Petra Artemis Saltzman, at your service."
Oh, yeah. Captain Baker, nice to meet you. Oh, Saltzman, yes, your father, Winslow.
Yes, of course. And this is Jan Catton, of course. And do you know Cedric Benson?
Nice to meet you. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm in a bit of a rush right now. It's not a great time.
Of course you are. We know exactly why.
Do you?
We're volunteering.
Sorry, volunteering for what?
Jan, would you tell the man?
Captain, we volunteer to take a boat over to that ship and save the woman trapped in the hull.
Listen, passengers. I don't know where you got the idea that was an option, but
nobody beyond us needs to know. If you don't think that's possible, but we need to go.
And he eyes.
You know it's the right thing.
Give me a persuade roll with advantage.
All right.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
No whammies. Oh,
5.
wow.
My goodness.
This is quite the entrance for you, Rob.
Yeah. So he sort of looks at you and he sees that same seriousness that Vic did, but this time in a different light. It's a certainty, a confidence. Okay. I mean, listen, this is not something that you can take lightly. I don't know what you think you know about what this man said, but, well, hold on one second. And he turns around to the door and stops. He's like, no, actually, you know what? You three follow me. And he heads back into the office, asking you to follow. The captain's office is a small room with a private desk, meeting chairs. It has a few paintings, one depicting the original design for the Queen Mary, another of a lighthouse. A large walnut wood desk sits in the center, and the captain rounds it and sits down behind it. Standing next to him, sort of leaning against the wall with sweat on his brow, is the first mate. Brom is the name on his tag. And across from him sits an old man with a deep cut over his left eye. He looks up to you with sad, sort of wet eyes. It's been bandaged up and it's patched by the nurse. And as they speak, in the corner you see a large man. The head of security, you know him as Edgar Donnelly. And the captain sort of turns to Edgar and Brom and says, these three are volunteering to go to the Osiris and try to help Sams with retrieving Helen. And the man sort of across from him sort of looks up excitedly and says, you're going to go over? Thank God. Bless you.
Petra takes the 5 or 6 steps that it takes to cross the room and kneels before James O'Rourke. She takes both of his hands into hers and says, Captain, we hear your plight, and we are ready to come to your aid.
And he sighs almost as relief. And he's like, thank you. Thank you. And, yeah, I mean, the man, you haven't got to see him yet, but you can see he is, an older man. I already described him, didn't I? Yeah, sad man. And he nods and he looks back to you, to Jan and Cedric. What is Cedric doing?
Cedric is kind of, his eyes have kind of glazed over and he's kind of looking in the corner and shaking his head very, very subtly, that nobody notices.
Okay. Should we make them roll for it?
Sure. Well, someone can
can be
notice if they
subtle.
want to. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Maybe someone catches it out of the corner of their eye, but...
Sure. Captain says, obviously you're aware of the situation. Is there anything else you needed to ask? And before you speak, Edgar speaks up and says, listen, I don't know what you think you guys know, but this is not a run-of-the-mill. This poor woman was locked in there by this man. And then the man says, by accident. He says, yes, but she's still locked in there, and potentially with a madman who might have already killed her. It's true he doesn't have a gun anymore. Luckily, Sam's, you said, got that, but
if there's any chance, Donnelly, that boy needs his mother.
Well, I don't agree with it, but I would go as well. Being the security officer on this, obviously I'm responsible, and you are passengers.
We would be pleased to have you. Captain O'Rourke, if we are to find Christian, has murdered this woman, Helen, I believe. And if it's just him alive on this boat, what are we to do?
And he shares a nervous look with the first mate, Brom, who again sort of dabs sweat from him and looks towards the security officer. I don't know. The idea would be to bring him back under arrest, put him in the brig. I mean, but let's be realistic here. Between us in this room, I can't imagine a man who slaughtered 2 men is going to be able to come back to this ship safely. All I can say is that I care about that woman who's in there and your first mate Sam's. Those 2 priorities, that's it.
And if it is at all possible, we will bring the mother home. Do you have an armory? Weapons?
An armory?
Something?
We're a cruise ship. No, I mean, Edgar, we have a few guns, maybe. And Edgar sort of smiles and says, personal weapons, yeah. I mean, I have a handgun or two. I mean, we're not exactly stocked for this.
She looks at Jan. Do you have a gun? Cedric?
I've never used one, no.
Well, I'm a fantastic shot. And I should like a gun.
All right, we'll get you one. And he does. Is there anything else you want to ask the captain or either captain or the first officer or the security officer? Anybody else?
I think I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I've agreed to going on this. But okay, will you give us just a few minutes just to chat amongst ourselves?
Of course.
Please. Thank you.
And he says, you can use my bedroom if you want. And he opens the door to his bedroom. And you enter it. It's the room next to it. They're elegant, official. It's clear that the captain has a medical background. The frame degrees and trinkets would attest to. In fact, in the corner sits an anatomical skeleton with the captain's hat and coat sort of wrapped around it. He's got a bit of a sense of humor.
Nice.
Next to the bed, a large painting of the Washington Cross and the Delaware. There's a writing desk and a vanity for his wife, who appears in many portraits.
Okay. So, you've convinced me. You've hired me, Petra. So we're going on to a ship where there is a man who doesn't have a gun. Is he a man or a boy? He's a stowaway.
A man.
He's a man. He has a gun or doesn't have a gun.
He was rid of his gun, as far as we know.
He was rid of his gun. So he is in the brig with the mother. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we should ask the captain of the ship to draw us a map of the ship so that we know where we're going.
Wonderful idea.
Is there anything else that you think that we'll need to make sure that we've covered all our bases, so to speak?
Well,
baseball term. I don't know anything about baseball.
If he's injured her, we should bring some kind of medical supplies.
Yes, absolutely.
Jan, are you proficient? What was your role in the army? Did you have any kind of medical training?
I know first aid. If we can get a kit, and if she's still breathing, I can do my best to get her over here.
I'm sure they have such a thing on the ship, so we'll need weapons, a map, and a first aid kit. There's the three of us and the safety officer.
How are we going to get to the ship itself? Are we going to take a rowboat out there? How far away is it?
I'd like to take a motorboat or a jet ski.
I don't even know.
We'll take whatever they've got.
But how are we going to navigate in the dark? Are we going to go at night? Shouldn't we wait for day?
No, we have to go now. We have to go right now.
Right, because
we can't sleep. How could you sleep, Cedric?
Maybe the dreams will go away. Yeah. Okay. No, we're going to go. We're going to go now. You're right. But how are we going to navigate there in the dark? I don't have any experience navigating seas in a rowboat.
I can operate a boat. Don't worry.
And of course, okay. Edgar Donnelly will be proficient, I'm sure.
Okay. Excellent. Please, you'll forgive me.
No, of course.
A tad nervous about this.
Cedric, I understand. I'm thinking only of this woman, this prisoner who we have to liberate, and time is of the essence.
Right. Okay, well, maybe we should... And I kind of glance around the room. I'm going to do a spot hidden.
Sure. This guy lets you into his fucking bedroom and you just...
Captain's room?
Yeah. Oh, and I don't see anything.
Oh, bummer.
All right.
You don't get the super secret awesome thing.
Oh, darn it. Okay, so medkit, map of the boat, and then I guess
guns. Lots of guns.
Oh, and guns. Right. I don't want one.
And yeah, you enter back into the room, and Captain Baker sort of nods to you and says, "Have you had your discussion?"
Yes. Yes, Captain Baker.
And he pulls you aside and goes back into the bedroom with you, and he just says, "I think what you're doing is very noble. 3 people on a cruise liner have no business going across the water towards an abandoned vessel like this, especially one as dangerous as this. The only reason I'm slightly okay with this is because Captain O'Rourke has said that Sam's is guarding the door that locks the basement. If you should get there, and Sam should not answer, or the doors are not locked as they are proclaimed to be, get back on the boat and let us leave. It is unlikely the woman would be alive anyway. It's not worth the risk."
That is a
It might be worth
hard
the
pill
risk.
to swallow. Thank you, Jan. How can you say that?
I've sailed for many years on the ocean. I've lost many people. It's always better to risk less people. There's an old saying, women and children first, as we all remember the Titanic. The idea being that numbers matter. To lose 4 people to save 1 is not a worthwhile wager. That is to say that I think this is a noble gesture, and I would do it myself if it didn't mean that I needed to be here, if I didn't need to be on the ship. But if Sam's isn't there or the doors are open, it's very possible that this man Velnick has escaped.
Escaped to where, Captain?
To on the
To
ship.
the inky blackness of the ocean?
I just mean to say, there might not be anyone there to save. Anyway.
We will get to the bottom of what happened on your ship.
Okay. And you enter the room and retrieve plans to the ship. He actually says, the captain, O'Rourke says, "Yeah, I do have plans. I took them. We used them when we were figuring out which places to block." And he shows there's actually marker on them, X's where he's locked the doors, and circles where the access points could be. Funny that you should keep this on you. You never remember until you run it out the door and you realize that you shoved something in your pocket that could be of use. Then he hands it to you. Edgar sort of nods to him. The captain says, "Rourke, we're going to put you in a crew room for now. You get rest. You obviously have some hypothermia and you're exhausted. You just sleep the night through. Edgar, can you please make sure that these are outfitted with whatever few weapon we can, and with some cold clothes. We're going to wait for you guys, obviously, as long as we can, at least until day and the storm passes. Please be safe. Okay?"
We'll need a flare too to let you know when it's done.
Absolutely. You'll be able to carry a kit detailed with whatever you'd like in it. And that is to say that you collect your belongings, your weapon, dress more appropriately, and arrive at the side of the ship, ready to board the small lifeboat. Are you convincing any crewmen to come with you, or is it just going to be the 4 of you? Or
Great question. So we've got the 3 of us and the safety officer, Edgar Donnelly.
security officer?
Sorry, I keep saying safety officer.
officer!
Hello, that's a position at my work.
I know, it's just, could you imagine if it was kind of cute if he's like, "I'm the safety officer. I'm coming
The
along."
only other person might be seeing if Abdul Sarkar wanted to be a hero.
Oh, fuck yeah! That guy's... oh, dude, he's my fave.
It would make me feel better if he was on board regarding navigation.
Can we go talk to him?
I will expedite the process and say that do you remember his room number?
323.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
wrote it down.
I'm going to say that he hasn't been able to sleep yet, and he eagerly answers the door. Good. Hello.
Abdul, we have succeeded where you have not. We are allowed to go on a mission to this boat. And we need your help.
Did you find out what has happened to the boat?
Yes. We'll tell you everything. Long story short, there are stowaways, then there was a mutiny, and now there's a hostage situation. And we have to be there.
Very well. Yes, I would like to help.
Hell yeah!
And he turns back to his bunk and pulls out a gun. And he says, I will meet you at the top deck.
Great call, Rob.
And the 5 of you now stand on the snow-covered top deck next to the lifeboat that is about to be lowered. And Edgar Donnelly is sort of standing there with his winter jacket and his collar popped, and he turns to the 4 of you and says, all right. Everybody ready for this?
Oh, I almost forgot. I say, just a minute. And I turn to Jan. And out of this like big bushy jacket that I'm thinking Petra borrowed from her dad, like a winter jacket, because I don't have one.
Absolutely.
I pull out your watch, and I say, I had this in my suit pocket. I found it earlier on the trip, and I just wanted to give it back to you. Totally forgot until I switched coats.
Until it was the right time. Yeah, I am ready for this, Donnelly.
And you
Thank you so much.
slowly are lowered down, the 5 of you, onto the water. The small lifeboat to the Osiris rocks, with each small wave crashing against the side of the Queen Mary, the snow continuing to fall heavy and slow as the frigid ocean air cuts through your coats like a knife. After settling into your seat on the boat and touching the water, you push off from the cruise ship and look towards the Osiris as Abdul speaks up from the back. Isn't Osiris the Egyptian god of death? He says, as you each share a nervous look. And we are going to stop there for the evening.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Call of Cthulhu Part 1.
Yeah.
Great job, Harlan.
Excellent.
Really great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. I'm glad everyone's having fun. Some really cute things there that I didn't think would happen. Some things there that I did think would happen, and some things there that I thought this episode was going to go a lot longer. I'm a bit bummed to have to end it there, but I'm excited in the same
What
way.
surprised you the most?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Out of all your options,
Yeah.
what did you guys do that surprised me the most? I really liked how the whole interaction with Vic Tonetto went. I thought that was so good.
Me too. I loved it.
I really liked the interaction with the watch. That I thought was great. I really liked the way you handled the whole interview scenario with like this guy in the room. Like you listened, waited, and then approached the captain, which was very different than I had thought you guys were going to approach it. As well as the doctor's office, actually. You handled both those very differently than I anticipated. I kind of thought that you would just sneak into the back to the doctor's office.
Oh, true. The doctor's office would have ended up very different if one of us had rolled successfully on the.
But that's
But
the fun of the
otherwise-
game.
Really amazing rolls, especially from Rob. This is setting a
Oh my
dangerous
God,
precedent.
yes.
Very good rolls.
It's only to build us up so it'll abandon us right at the perfect moment.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think you handled it really well. I think you took it all in stride too, with like the going there. I appreciate that Justin was the only one that was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. And then the two of you were like, we need to. That always makes it easier too.
Yes.
Not only do we need
I'm
to,
glad
but we
you guys
need
did.
you.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
really nice.
Cedric, you're important to this. We don't know
I was
why
very
or how
happy
yet.
that I was very happy that you guys weren't just like, oh, okay, see you later. Cedric."
Yeah, totally.
Just like leave it
Ah!
open. Just like, oh fuck.
I hope you have another PC rolled up.
That's good. So awesome. No, great job. I think you guys did a really good job, and I think the community really enjoyed it. I hope the community really enjoyed it.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
hanging out.
Yes.
I want to do a huge shout out real quick to the newest Patreon supporter, Alyssa Faden.
Yeah.
Backed
Good
us
job.
during this game. I saw her comment. She was like, okay, I need to be patron supporter or something like that, which was really cute.
Thank you for being part of this. Alyssa, you get access to our Spirit Realm sponsored by Patron exclusive Discord channel.
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Sponsored by Pepsi / Patreon. Where you get to see the maps and etc.
And the enigmas. And the enigma things that you get to solve, which is going to be fun. There's going to be one this Friday at 8 a.m. Again, every Friday, 8 a.m., you're going to get a new riddle. So well done. And thank you again to Marvin Tanner for sending the XP. Thank you again to Rob for doing such a fantastic job with Yan. Huge round of applause.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast. I'm excited to come back next week.
I'm really glad. Yeah, I think that's it. We'll do Endgame XP. I think Endgame XP, there's a lot of good comments tonight.
Yeah, man. Oh, for those of you who are wondering, mid-game XP, that is being taken up for this campaign by the Enigma winners. So
yes, the mid-game is now going to be the Enigma winners, which this week was Carly McDonald. Very
congratulations, Carly.
It's first to solve. And this week's going to be much harder, so get ready. So that's going to be mid-game. Endgame is still going to exist, though, and I'm thinking... I don't know, who are you thinking? There was a lot of great comments. Your friend Audio, Ahmed, seemed to really like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should give it to him.
Can we get him on the board?
I'm totally on board. Let's get Ahmed on the board.
Ahmed, you win Endgame XP for being here, being communicative, hanging out, and supporting your friend Justin, which is always
You're a cool guy.
Thanks,
always
buddy.
a celebratory reason. Anyway, that is it from us. Hope you guys had a fantastic night. Hope you're excited to see us next week for more Call of Cthulhu, this campaign. As always, my name is Harlan, and as my good friend Joe always likes to say,
It's my bedtime.
it's my bedtime. Good night!
Night!